Every night at 3 a.m., I hear my dead brother asking me to open the door. I haven't told anyone this. Not my family, not my friends. I'm not even sure why I'm writing it down here. I guess I just need someone to believe me. Or at least to read this before it happens again tonight. It's been exactly 1 year since my younger brother Elias died. He was 3 years younger than me, but always seemed older. Calmer, kinder, more grounded. While I was the loud one, the one who pushed boundaries, Elias was the type to read in silence, to smile without needing a reason. The cancer hit fast. Acute leukemia. The doctors didn't sugarcoat it. They gave us a few months, maybe. But in the end, it was barely 8 weeks. I spent most of that time with him. I helped him eat when he couldn't lift his arms, held his hand when he was too weak to speak, tried to joke around just to make him laugh. In the final hours, when he was barely there, he looked right at me. Not scared, not sad, just knowing. "Don't stay alone," he whispered. That was the last thing he ever said. After that, everything shut down. There was a flat line on the monitor, a few soft words from the nurse, and then nothing. The world just stopped. I didn't cry much, not at first. I think part of me refused to believe he was really gone. I disconnected from everything. Schools, friends, routines. I slept all day, stayed awake all night, barely ate. I thought maybe the silence would help me process it. Instead, it left space for something else. The first time I heard his voice again, it was around 3 a.m. I hadn't been asleep, just lying there, staring at the ceiling. The window cracked open to let in the late October wind. "Are you there?" It was faint, soft, coming from the hallway. I froze, not because I was afraid, but because I knew that voice. I got up, opened the door, turned on the lights. Nothing. Every door was locked, windows closed, no sound except my own heartbeat. The next night, it happened again. Same time, same voice. "Are you there?" I told myself it was a trick of memory, auditory hallucinations, lack of sleep. That made sense, right? But the voice kept coming back, every night at 3 a.m. sharp. And then the footsteps started. Soft, deliberate steps across the hallway floor, stopping just outside my bedroom. Never louder than a whisper, but impossible to ignore. Eventually, I started locking my door at night. I played white noise, music, anything. Sometimes I'd fall asleep with the podcast playing just to drown it out. But none of it worked. The sound always cut through. Always him. Then came the knocking. 3 soft taps. Then his voice. Closer now. "Please, open the door." It never sounded threatening. Not angry or vengeful. Just pleading. Almost sad. I told myself I wouldn't give in. I wasn't going to open the door. I wasn't going to play into whatever this was. Grief, trauma, madness. But it didn't stop. Then it got worse. I started finding things around the apartment. Objects I hadn't seen in years. Stuff I knew was in a box in the attic, sealed and forgotten. A small worn-out toy dinosaur on the windowsill. His favorite. The one he carried everywhere as a kid. A half-drunk Capri Sun on the kitchen table. Wild cherry. The exact flavor he used to beg Mom to buy. Each day something new. Each night, his voice. Like the past was leaking into the present. Or something was trying to lure me back. Last night, I found his old diary on my desk. It had gone with him to the hospital. I'd packed it in his bag. He never wrote much in it, but it was something that brought him comfort. It never came back home with us. I'm absolutely certain of that. And yet there it was. Dusty, locked, familiar. I opened it. Only one sentence had been added, written in a shaky but unmistakable hand on the last page. "I found a place for you." That's when I knew this wasn't just memory. This wasn't just grief. Something was actively reaching out. I've tried everything. I left town, booked hotel rooms, stayed with friends. I even rented a cabin hours away in the middle of nowhere and turned off my phone. But no matter where I go, at 3 a.m., I hear him. Even when I'm awake. Even when I know he can't possibly be there. And every night, his voice changes. Just a little. Subtle at first. A slightly slower rhythm. A flatter tone. Like a recording wearing down. Like a mask slowly slipping. If it's really Elias, why does he sound less and less like himself with every visit? Tonight is the anniversary of his death. 1 full year. And I'm hearing him already. No waiting for 3 a.m. this time. He's early. I hear footsteps in the hallway. Slower than usual. More deliberate. Closer. Then the whisper. Please open the door. I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. Every part of me screams not to. But something inside me is whispering that tonight is different. That if I open it now, it might finally end. That maybe I'll see him just one more time. That maybe it won't stop unless I do. I'm standing up now. I'm walking to the door. My hand is on the lock. I'm going to open it. That was Every Night at 3 a.m. I Hear My Dead Brother Asking Me to Open the Door by Marvin35. So, this is it's yet another classic tale of, is it actually the ghost of a dead loved one talking to me? And it's always entertaining to see those because it always opens up this whimsical idea of the fact that, like, whenever people have died, passed on, sometimes their spirit still lingers. Like with I think there's always these nice ones about, especially loved ones, like maybe a elderly grandmother or something like that. And it's like they still continue doing their certain routines, or maybe like you'll smell specific smells related to them inside their own house and things like that. There's all these little like things that make you feel like they would still be around. And in this case, with this story, it's about like how some of the things that Elias used to really like, Capri Sun, things like that, would appear in the house, making you think like, oh yes, it is Elias that's still here, which is great. I think it's whether you believe in that stuff or not, I think it's lovely. I think it's really sweet. Obviously, really strange in a horror story, but at the same time, it does appear a lot in a horror story because it's meant to exemplify the idea that, hey, this is that person in obviously some kind of ghost or spirit manner, right? And I do apologize about outside noises if you can hear any of them. But I do still have to do what I gotta do, and there's not much I can do about it because it's just been noise all day. It's been wild. I can't even. Usually there's like these good like 3-4 hour periods where there's like no noises and it's really good, and that's like the time to hit. I've had zero luck with that in the past 4 days, so it's gotta do what I gotta do. Sorry, tangent aside. Let's get back to the story. It's just because I can keep hearing all kinds of stuff outside. It might not be picked up at all, in which case, great. But I'm just saying, in case you do hear stuff, I live in a place that has people around. People do things. I'm sorry. And so I think the best part about these kind of horror stories is the fact that, I mean, especially seeing so many, whether it be stories or movies or TV shows or anything these days, it's my first thought is always, well, is it that person in spirit form or ghost form or whatever? Because usually there's like a dark twist to it where it turns out it's just like it's not always a demon, but a demon is usually the first one that comes to mind because they're far more dangerous, perhaps mimicking or, for all we know, holding that spirit captive and using them to get to other people, right? And that's part of what I think is going on here. It very much feels like maybe, or for all we know, maybe Elias is like slowly being transformed. Maybe he's corrupted in some kind of a way. I could also believe that as a possibility. But the fact that, like, the mannerisms slowly begin changing, the way that Elias speaks begins changing. There's certainly weird nods because I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know how ghosts work. I don't think they still continue aging and perhaps go through puberty and stuff. I don't think that's what's going on here. That'd be interesting. I don't think that's what's going on here. because it feels like it's getting more malicious, especially the fact that it's always around 3 a.m., which is the witching hour, which, that's always obviously got a big connotation when it comes to the horror-verse stuff. We can always get into that sometime, but I'm not here to talk about that. The fact is, I definitely feel like it's a trap. I feel like bad things are going to happen. End of discussion, right? And I get the feeling a lot of you will agree with me. How it all works, I think we can argue that point. But either way, nice little story. It's got some good little tension, good little things that just kind of irk you a little bit and make you thinking like, ooh, well, he's doing the silly stuff. He's gonna do it. Like, that's not a good idea, but that's what makes horror entertaining as well, is the fact that these people, if they were smart, these stories wouldn't probably be as horrific, right? Because then less people would die, less bad things would happen. So you gotta have that, right? You gotta have it. Things that this made me think about actually were an amount. I wouldn't say a massive amount, but it made me think of a movie, Ouija, Origin of Evil, from 2016, and basically, from what I remember correctly, it's like a widow. She's recently lost her husband. She's got like her kids and everything, and they're having obviously issues with monetary, financial problems, and I think if I remember right, it was either her dad or her husband's dad. It might have been her dad. I think it was her dad was rich when he was alive, but he's, I guess, hidden away money or something like that. And they end up consulting like help, and inevitably through a Ouija board, they're able to communicate to him. And conveniently, they do find where some money has been hidden, which makes it look like that he is the one helping them. And it's like, oh, that's amazing. They're going to sort out all the problems because they're talking to their dad, which obviously isn't the case, right? And that's why it's a horror movie. Things go wrong. Which, by the way, don't play around with Ouija boards. Really fucking dangerous stuff, all right? It also made me think of the 2009 film, The Uninvited, which I don't remember this one as well, but I do remember seeing it probably back in like 2011, if I remember right. There's I think it's like nightmares. There's like these nightmare messages from oh god, it's what is it? It takes place in like a somewhat mental hospital or psychiatric institution. Or no, she leaves it, doesn't she? She leaves it, but she doesn't remember. Oh, you know what? I really can't remember all the details, but I do remember the fact that there's these nightmares, these night like dream messages, if you will, which make it look like she's being talked to by her mother. Obviously not the case. God, I'm gonna have to rewatch that movie. I can't believe I don't remember all of it. But I think the one that it really makes me think of I'm so sorry if you can hear all that. I'll just so they go. You might not hear any of this unless I'm speaking. I think it doesn't get picked up unless I'm talking, because that's how the settings are with this. It tries to pick up voices. But doing a lot of work out there. It's been a real pain in the ass for recording. The one that it really makes me think of a lot is The Sixth Sense. Funnily enough, really good movie if you haven't seen it, from the 90s. But it's this. I mean, I don't want to spoil how it all goes, but basically, it's got to do with a child psychologist, and he picks up an interesting new client, who some people were trying to say that the child has like schizophrenia or something like that, because he makes it sound like he's talking to people. But nobody else sees anybody he's talking to. They think it's all in his head, which is why they claim schizophrenia. But I think listening to one of the tapes, Bruce Willis is the child psychologist, and he hears that there is indeed another voice that the child is talking to, and so he decides to take on the case, and they go through this whole interesting development where you find out that the child can see dead people, and that's as far as I'm going to go when it comes to that. So it's a really great story. Really, it's a fun film. It's a really fun film. It's got a level of scare, but it's definitely more like a psychological thriller, I would say. The movie was good, really good. Yeah, which so I think for what we read to make me think of Sixth Sense, I think it's pretty solid in my opinion. This has been it's been a nice one. Let me know down in the comments below what it made you think of. I'm really curious. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your comments, your ideas, and everything like that. Thank you yet again, Marvin35, for this opportunity. It's always fantastic readings with great stories, and this is certainly another one of them. Yeah, you might not have heard that, so just constant random sawing. Anyway, I've been Nate and I've had a fantastic time, and I sure hope you have too. See you for the next one. Reactive Co-Sleeping. The thud woke me. The thud was the sound of my son kicking his bedroom wall. This isn't new. He rolls like a hay baler in his sleep. I didn't move until I heard his high, squeaky voice call for Mommy. But Mommy is tired. She spent the last week working in the UK, and now she's home and trying to flip her schedule. It's just been me and the kids all week, and if I don't put the boy back to sleep, my wife and I would spend the rest of the night with a 2-foot-tall amateur martial artist kicking us in the back of the head until morning. The boy likes to sleep in a style I affectionately call punch snuggle. Punch snuggling is like regular snuggling, but with fists, knees, and a heel in the abdomen, back, or face. Struggling out of bed, I kept my eyes closed until I felt the edge of the dresser press against my arm. Cracking my left eyelid open, I saw the numbers on the clock read 3:06. It was 3 in the morning, and my brain felt like a trash fire. I walked into the hall and heard whispering. Maybe I didn't wake up fast enough. I thought Kay was still in bed, but I could barely keep my eyes open. So who knows what was happening. It didn't matter. I should take over. Kay needed her sleep. She would have meetings all day tomorrow. I shuffled into the hallway. Ben's door was open, and the muffled whispering from his bedroom sounded like gurgling gibberish. The little man called out for Mom again. "I want Mommy," he yelled. I groaned. This was going to be one of those nights. Sometimes Ben doesn't wake up all the way. He falls into a zone that is half awake and half asleep. Then he'll scream and cry until he's in bed with us. The only way we can get him to calm down is to have him sleep between us, which isn't great for us because of all the punch snuggling. But I'm not exaggerating. I get kicked in the kidneys, and Kay has a toddler's forehead pushed in between her shoulder blades. This co-sleeping happens every other night. It's not a great solution, but at least we didn't have to buy a dog like we did with our daughter. She refused to sleep in her bed until we bought a guard dog and gave it a spot in her room. The dog is cute. The dog is always scared, but May loves it, and that's what's important. "I want Mommy," Ben yelled again, and I looked up as Kay led him from his room to the hall. I smiled my best commiserating smile. It's more of a closed-mouth grin with raised eyebrows that usually pulls a huff or laugh from Kay, but her face said she was having none of it tonight. I understood she needed me to step up and care for the kids so she could care for us. It was a deal we made when I became a stay-at-home dad. I pushed away from the wall. Sorry, I didn't hear him right away. I must be more tired than I thought. I apologized to my wife. Let's get the little man to bed. I turned my attention to my son. "Do you need some water, buddy?" "I want Mommy," he whined and tried to pull away from Kay, but she didn't let him go. I remember thinking that was odd, but I was too tired to understand why I felt that. I crouched down to my son's level, and my knee popped. "Hey, little man, Mommy's right next to you. She's holding your hand." Ben wrenched his hand away from Kay and grabbed the sleeve of my pajama shirt in his tiny fist. "That's not Mommy." The hairs on my scalp stood at attention. Ben seemed so genuine and sure that, for a moment, I believed him. But I glanced up at Kay. Her eyes were wide, and a frown turned the corners of her mouth into a scowl. Children who talked in their sleep were an adventure. "I want Mommy," Ben yowled. "Okay, all right, let's go to the bedroom and we'll get Mommy." I placated as I led my glassy-eyed son to our bedroom. Kay followed, and I tried to commiserate with her with an awkward smile and a shoulder shrug. But she wasn't looking at me. Her eyes focused on our bedroom door. That's when I heard the voice. It was Kay's voice. But I was still watching Kay over my shoulder, and Kay's mouth didn't move. "I'm up. I'm here. I'm coming," the voice said from our bedroom. I watched as Kay, who walked behind me and my son, turned her head and pierced me with a wide-open gaze. Her eyes were much darker than they should be, and a mix of panic and frustration pinched her features. Ben pulled at my arm, and I stumbled forward as Kay, my wife, shuffled out of our bedroom and into the hallway. There were 2 Kays. I'm up," the Kay in our bedroom doorway declared as she rubbed her eyes. Our son lunged forward and clenched his short arms around Kay's legs. My wife held our son and smiled sleepily at me. Then she shifted her focus to the figure behind me, and her face lost all of its color. The hair on my neck stood at attention, and the smell of brackish water filled my senses. I turned to the figure behind me, filling the hallway the best I could, putting my body between it and my son. The smell of stale water and decay overwhelmed me, and panic took my breath as I realized that whatever this was between me and my daughter's room. But before I could react, the figure that moments ago was holding my son's hand and leading him out of his room dissolved or melted. One moment, it was there. The next, it was gone. And the carpet was wet and stained with muddy footprints. My wife gripped my hand as she clung to Ben, and together, we pulled our daughter and her dog from her room. We refused to let go of each other, which confused our preteen daughter, but she had dealt with her parents' weirdness before and didn't complain much as we piled in the car. We left the house that night, and haven't been back since. And that was Reactive Co-Sleeping by E. Latimer. Now, yet again, it's another short but sweet, good little story. What I found to be really interesting was, even though I knew we were reading some kind of a horror story, right? I very quickly judged our main character when I found out they were like a stay-at-home dad, and that somehow they didn't reach the baby before the wife did. I felt that whole situation like super weird. No, I was like, dude, you're really dropping the ball here. Like, what the fuck? She's, just come back from a different country. She's probably fucking exhausted and everything. Like, come on, dude. Like, you got to step it up. I know you might be, having a rough time or whatever. It'll be in the outtakes whenever that video goes out. But yeah, so I was so quick to judge, which was so wrong of me. Because yet again, also, like, when I noticed, then obviously the kid is like, oh, kind of not really wanting to be with this person, this K. Then I was like, oh, okay, it's shenanigans going on. I see. So it's a fake person. I didn't know exactly what kind of level of fake person, because the fact that even the husband still believed it was her was interesting. So clearly, this is some. It makes me think of something more like a mimic, like something that can properly replicate what somebody looks like. And for some reason, it seemed to be only interested in the child. In which case, maybe this is a monster that snatches either children or babies or something like that. Maybe to a certain age, they aren't really so interested in the flesh. Maybe it's like Hansel and Gretel kind of a thing, or some other kind of child-eating monster demon thing. It's hard to say. There's a variety of those in like folklore and stuff like that, but weirdly not a crazy amount in like horror stories and movies and things, which is weird. You think there would be? But yeah, I was doing some Googling about like baby snatching movies and stuff like that, and there's a fair amount of like comedies, which is weird, right? And I was like, I suppose that's okay, but it's more that like the baby's gone on like an adventure or some shit like that. Yeah. So the things it made me think of, I mean, yet again, naturally, the first thing was the idea of a mimic, some kind of a, but not like a mimic as in like not quite full on Dungeons and Dragons lore. Although I bet you there are mimics like that can really properly doppelganger kind of people in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure that's a thing. Maybe there's a different term for it. I'm not sure. But yet again, I mean, doppelgangers obviously is a decent call for this, any kind of a doppelganger movie, or even like the Twitter story or the other stories of doppelgangers I've covered. Sorry, there's a lot of cars today. Otherwise, it also made me think of the movie Us back in 2019, when you had the family who ended up finding like their own cells replicated as in like some kind of a serial killer format. It was really it was an interesting little film. Gotta say, it is strange, and that's the best part, right? Even though yet again, this was only one mimic doppelganger that only replicated the mother, probably because yet again the point was to take the child. I'm not saying they were gonna eat the child, but there's a decent possibility there's something like that going on. Where they eat babies. I'm sure that's why else would you take children? Why else would you take children? I suppose, yes, obviously, in human terms, no, we don't eat children. That's why we kidnap babies. We kidnap babies usually for ransoming and for making money off of them, or putting them into, human trafficking shit. Horrifying things. Still also super dark. But, yet again, like horror story senses and folklore and stuff, it's more about, like, the eating of children. So, it's an interesting disconnect. I'm not really sure. Really interesting. Yeah, so, child abduction. Super dark topic in some cases. But, does lead to some interesting true crime documentaries. Not that I think that's amazing, I do love the documentaries, but I think abducting children is obviously heinous and insane and disgusting. But that's just me. I really hope you've enjoyed the story. I know I sure as shit have. Let me know down in the comments below what you think this was, or what you think the deal was, what you think the situation is. I'm really curious as to other people's interpretations. I like getting discussions going. It's really great. Don't forget, I've also got a community feature on YouTube now, so if you ever want to put up posts, asking questions, trying to do discussions and stuff, you can do it in my channel. I don't exactly know how it works. I haven't really messed around with it too much. I just know it's enabled. So it's probably on my channel somewhere. I'm sure it must be a thing on my channel. Maybe there's a post or a community tab. I'm really not sure. Because obviously if I go to my page, it looks different for me because it's mine and I see all the background stuff. So yeah, anyway. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you yet again, E. Latimer, for this wonderful opportunity of reading your story. I've been Nate at Night. I've had a great time, and I sure hope you have too. We'll see you for whatever's next. Take care out there. It's digging beneath my bedroom. My dad never let me own a phone. He'd already lost one son to an online predator, and he wasn't going to let it happen again. I tried to explain that I wasn't like Kyle. I didn't want to meet up with anyone from the internet. All I wanted was to message my friends and watch YouTube videos on the bus. But Dad wouldn't have it. Since Kyle disappeared, I barely left my room. When dinner was ready, I waited until Dad had finished eating before I grabbed my plate. Easier that way, without him watching. If I ate too slowly, he'd snap. "What? Not good enough for you?" Before, Kyle used to redirect our old man's anger at himself, shielding me from the worst of it. He'd taken a beating once when I knocked over a can of red paint in the garage. Whenever someone asked about that purple bruise under his eye, he'd say it came from playing hockey. I never got the chance to thank him for that. I worked part-time bagging groceries at the Quick Mart and saved $200. One of my friends, Devin, sold me a cheap Motorola smartphone. I added people's socials, installed YouTube, Spotify, and a few other apps, and set up this Reddit profile. I couldn't risk Dad finding out the phone, so I pried up a floorboard in our bedroom, my bedroom, to hide it. I had to keep reminding myself of that. Without Kyle, there was no more our room, our desk, or our wardrobe. It was all mine, and that's all it would ever be. With steady internet access, my morbid curiosity got the better of me, and I Googled Kyle's name. Recent articles popped up, and a headline on an obscure news site froze me. Father investigated in missing child's case. The photo showed Dad stepping in, or out, of his Lexus. Suddenly, his boots echoed on the staircase. I slid the phone back under the floorboards and hopped into bed, pulling the cover to my chin. Dad leaned in my doorway, slurring, "Good night, Bailey." Lately, I'd caught him hiding a flask of whiskey in his jacket. It hadn't been this bad since the early months of the divorce. "Good night, Dad," I replied, but a question escaped me. Is there any new information on Kyle? His expression sobered. "You know the rule. We don't talk about him. It's not for you to worry about." When he left, he kept the door ajar. I considered closing it, but if he went to the bathroom during the night and found it shut, he'd chew me out. I rolled onto my side and tried to sleep. I was beginning to drift off, my thoughts bleeding into hazy dreams, when the sound started. It reminded me of nails on skin or a shovel in dirt. I looked down to the floorboard I'd hidden the phone under, and the scratching stopped. As if it were saying, "Yes, it's me. I'm here." Had I left Spotify playing by mistake? Carefully, I slipped from the bed and crouched by the floor, glancing at the door to be sure Dad wasn't watching. I pressed my ear to the boards and listened. Then I recognized the sound. Fingers clawing through soil, as if something was climbing up from beneath the house. I jumped back into bed and closed my eyes, desperately trying to ignore the sound. It was an absurd thought, not one a rational mind interprets. Yet I couldn't bring myself to lift the floorboard and look inside. The next morning, I asked Dad what it could be. He had an immediate answer. Rats. They'd probably nested in the walls and floor. One must have fallen into a gap and trapped itself. Night after night, the scraping continued. I wondered how long a rat could survive. 5 days? A week? By the end of 2 weeks, I knew it couldn't be a rat. The sounds grew louder, closer. At times, when there was no wind outside, I'd hear weak, whistling breaths creeping up from the floorboard. I forced myself to endure it for 2 more days, determined to block out the noises until they faded. Until last night, when everything changed. The scratching began as usual around 2 or 3 in the morning, but after a few hours, it stopped. Silence stretched, and for a peaceful moment, I thought it may have stopped. But then the scraping resumed. Rougher. Fingernails against wood. The loose floorboard wobbled open as something shifted beneath. Too terrified to look, I grabbed a stack of textbooks and placed them onto the board. The wobbling ceased, but on the other side, the scratching continued. I stayed awake until dawn, and at first light, I finally removed the textbooks and lifted the floorboard. Inside, my phone was gone, fallen into what had replaced it, an arm-sized hole leading into blackness. My heart pounded as I stared down the void. Without my phone, I had no light to shine inside and see how deep it was. So instead, I leaned closer and hovered my ear over the hole. Breathing. The weak, whistling breaths I heard earlier, like the lungs were filled with dirt. My pulse quickened. It couldn't be true. It'd be ridiculous to even consider it. But I found myself confronting the possibility. Something was buried down there. At school the next day, I borrowed Devin's phone and called my number. Devin gave a short laugh. You think the thing in the hole knows how to use a phone? The phone rang 7 times, then clicked as someone answered. Hello? I whispered. A voice I knew all too well. Kyle's voice crackled through the static.
Don't trust him.
And that was It's Digging Beneath My Bedroom by Hokons. Cool name. This was an awesome little story. It's yet another short and sweet, but it's got this just horrific thing where you're slowly kind of uncovering some of the truth. I think the first thing that kind of threw me for a loop was that, so dad's never going to let him have a phone. In this day and age, he'll find a way. So weird. So he has friends at school. He could probably do stuff there. So I feel like he would have been able to do research before, but I'm willing to throw that out at the moment. But so Kyle, at least supposedly from his father's perspective, was taken by an online predator, and there's no other information about that. Does feel a bit strange, right? It was suspicious. It's very suspicious to me. And so, yet again, we go a little bit further in, and we know that Kyle apparently was a great kid. Always dealt a lot with the dad. But the dad seems very aggressive and abusive. So, not super great. Mom's not in the picture. Horrifying kind of situations. And then as the story goes on further, and then he decides to start Googling his name when he secretly has a phone from his dad. And we end up finding out that the father was investigated in the missing child's case. How do you keep that hidden as well from Bailey? It's strange. Clearly Bailey's just completely separated from society, but still allowed to go to school. You think other people would have maybe talked to Bailey about this, right? So there's some little things that are a little bit of a disconnect, but maybe for all I know, it's just too much of a weird thing to talk about with people. I don't obviously know. I've never been in this kind of a situation. But the story continues to get really interesting. And then the fact that, all of a sudden there's this kind of scratching. Why wasn't there scratching before? What's going on with that? And inevitably gets all the way up to where the room was, where Bailey's sleeping. But also, we have to remember, this was also Kyle's room. And, tries to bust through the floorboard, fails because Bailey put some books down on the floorboard to prevent that. But then takes the phone. What was the plan with the phone? Call the police? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it was just an accident. Didn't mean to take the phone, but conveniently has a phone because it fell down the hole. Didn't know how to put it back up, even though clearly there was a way for them to be up there in the first place. That's why they were able to dig that high. Why did they decide to disappear? Why did they decide to stop? I'm not sure. But anyway, I also like the fact that, the idea from Bailey was to call the phone, and then Kyle picks up. I thought that was all great. I really enjoyed that. So here's where it gets interesting. Because there could be a number of things going on here, right? So obviously we have an abusive dad, most likely either killed Kyle or just buried him alive, got rid of him or something. I get the feeling that Kyle is dead, though. I'm pretty sure we can all kind of confirm that. So then the question becomes, are we dealing with some kind of a sentient, smart zombie Kyle? Or are we dealing with like more of a vengeful spirit type scenario that's maybe more manifest physically? In which case, it would be more like an onryo out of Japanese folklore. And granted, even though those are typically more like they're usually more like females, they're wronged women, if you will, is the more likely one. There can be male onryos, so it's not entirely impossible. I don't see it as an impossibility. I think it's an interesting discussion to be had. What are your thoughts? What do you think it is that's caused it down there? What do you think is going on? Things that this made me think about. So yet again, there's a variety of things that include parts of the topics in the story, especially like parental abuse, siblings going missing / dead potentially by the parents stuff. None of the stories perfectly like line up to this one. I like the fact that this one is a little bit different in the way that it works. So no true films or TV shows or anything really immediately kind of lined up in my brain for this. But funnily enough, a game did. Even though the game doesn't fully line up story-wise with the like abusive parent and stuff like that, but it does line up with the fact that somebody's living in a house and there is something underneath the house that is kind of going to mess with the people in the house. And the game is called I Live Under Your House, conveniently enough. And I did a little playthrough of these before, so I'll go ahead and pop a link in the. I'll pop a link somewhere. There's probably like an info card maybe up there. I think is where they appear. I'll pop that up there in case you want to see that. Yeah, no, that's kind of it. Otherwise, yeah, yet again, the idea of an onryo, I think the vengeful spirit, because yet again, onryos are mostly women, but the important thing about an onryo is they tend to take on more of a physical form. They're not like a spirit ghost or incorporeal form or whatever. They're more physically manifestations, which sounds a little bit more what's going on here, unless yet again you go with the somewhat smart zombie route, which I suppose you could. But for me, it doesn't really fit. I don't really know a lot of smart zombie scenarios, But I'm willing to be educated. So if you have any interesting thoughts, maybe other references, other ideas that sound better, more fitting, I really want to hear your ideas, your thoughts. This is awesome. I love having discussions about this shit. Really opens my eyes and stuff. Anyway, thank you yet again, Hawkons, for allowing us to read this story and share it. It's been a fantastic little read. I've been Nate at Night. I've had a great time, and I sure hope you have too. We will see you for whatever's next. Take care out there. I was cave diving when I found something that shouldn't exist. I don't even know why I'm writing this. No one's going to believe me anyway. Hell, I barely believe it. And I was there. I've been cave diving for most of my adult life. It's one of those things that either terrifies you or makes you feel alive in a way nothing else can. Crawling through lightless, half-flooded tunnels of stone with barely enough room to breathe. It rewires your brain. You stop thinking in straight lines. The world becomes narrow and endless all at once. Last weekend, I drove 4 hours out to a site I'd been meaning to explore for years. It wasn't on any official maps, just a whisper passed around in old diving forums. A collapsed sinkhole out in the woods, hidden behind a rusted chain-link fence so twisted with vines you'd miss it if you weren't looking. They said the cave beneath it was alive. I figured they were just being dramatic. I geared up alone. No spotter, no lifeline. Stupid, I know. But the site was so remote that dragging another person out there would have raised too many questions. I didn't want anyone else staking a claim. The entrance was a narrow shaft, just wide enough for me to wriggle through with my tank scraping the sides. The temperature dropped the second I slipped below the surface. The rock slick with something that smelled faintly metallic. It felt like the earth swallowed me. For the first hour, everything went as expected. Tight squeezes, shallow water pooling, and strange vein patterns on the floor. My flashlight cut thin white beams into the blackness, carving out tunnels only a few feet at a time. Then I found the passage. It wasn't like the others. The stone around it looked wrong, almost porous. like coral or old bone. When I ran my glove over it, the surface felt soft, almost pliant. I should have turned back then. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to turn back. But curiosity won out. I pushed through. The tunnel narrowed and dipped sharply down, forcing me into a crawling descent. The walls pressed so tight against me I could feel my own heartbeat vibrating in the stone. I kept telling myself it was just rock, just empty space. That was before the breathing started. It wasn't mine. It wasn't human. It was deep, wet, and rattling, like something with too many lungs, struggling to pull air through 1,000 crooked throats. The sound echoed through the tunnel ahead, growing louder the deeper I went. I should have backed out. I should have scrambled for daylight, no matter how tight the space got. Instead, I crawled toward it. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber after what felt like hours. My flashlight beam shivered across the walls. And that's when I saw it. The walls weren't rock. They were made of flesh. Pale, rippling tissue that stretched across the ceiling and floors, pulsing with a slow, sluggish rhythm. Veins as thick as my arms throbbed beneath the surface, branching out like the roots of some impossibly huge tree. And in the center of the room, something moved. At first, I thought it was a pool of water. It shimmered and shifted like liquid. But then it began to rise, pulling itself upward in long, stringy strands, forming a rough, heaving shape. No eyes, no mouth, just a roiling mass of translucent, worm-like tendrils that groped blindly at the air. And it smelled. A wet, rotting stink that clung to my skin, soaked into my suit. I was frozen, completely paralyzed. My body knew something my mind hadn't caught up to yet. It wasn't just living tissue. The whole cave was alive, and it was waking up. I tried to back away. Slow. Quiet. No sudden movements. The thing in the center was still assembling itself, its tendrils weaving together in twitching, nauseating patterns. I figured if I was careful enough, if I didn't make a sound, I could slip back through the tunnel before it noticed me. I turned, crouching low, moving one hand at a time toward the way I came. The light from my flashlight jittered across the walls, making the veins in the flesh-pitted stone look like they were writhing. I fought to keep my breathing steady, fought to ignore the way the walls seemed to tighten with every inch I crawled. Then my foot slipped. Just a little. Just enough for the heel of my boot to scrape against the wet surface. And that tiny sound, that tiny scritch, was enough. The creature stopped moving. It froze mid-assembly, tendrils stiffening like a marionette pulled taut on invisible strings. A low, wet, clicking sound echoed through the chamber, vibrating through the stone, and the walls responded. Veins bulged, flesh shuddered. The entire cave seemed to lurch forward in one slow, slithering motion, like a body trying to force itself through its own skin. Panic took over. I abandoned any idea of stealth and lunged for the tunnel mouth, my hands clawing at the slick walls, my knees scraping raw against the stone flesh. I half crawled, half swum into the narrow passage, my flashlight bouncing wildly and plunging the tunnel into jerking shadows. Behind me, the breathing grew louder, faster, hungrier. Something heavy slithered after me, wet tendrils slapping against the stone with a sickening rapid rhythm. The tunnel was too tight to turn around. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it, the vibrations rattling through my bones. I kept scrambling, dirt, mucus, slick stone filling my gloves, my gear catching on the narrowing walls. Every second counted. Then the tunnel shifted. I don't mean it branched off. I mean it moved. The stone flesh around me flexed, like a throat constricting. The opening I had come through twisted sideways, folding into itself. The way back was gone. I crashed into the dead end, my helmet striking the wall with a sharp, hollow thunk. Pain spiked down my neck. I whipped around, trying to shine my light behind me. And I saw it. The thing had almost filled the passage. It wasn't chasing me with legs or arms. It was dragging itself forward on 100 writhing filaments, each one tipped with tiny, grasping claws. And it was smiling. Not with a mouth. There was no face. But the ripples across its form shaped a crude, mocking grin. It didn't just want to kill me. It wanted me alive. The walls pulsed again, tightening, the fleshy stone squeezing inward like a hand about to crush a bug. My flashlight flickered once, then died, and in the pitch black, the breathing closed in. I forced myself to move, one hand at a time, fumbling across a rippling, mucus-slicked floor, desperate to find anything I could use. A loose rock, a broken shard of old equipment, anything. My fingers brushed against something hard, something sharp. I didn't even think. I grabbed it, the edge slicing into my glove and nicking the skin underneath. Pain flared in my hand, sharp and grounding. Good. It meant I was still alive, still fighting. I jammed the shard into the wall. The fleshy stone screamed. It wasn't a sound, more like a vibration. A high-frequency pulse that rattled my teeth and made my nose bleed instantly. The wall writhed under the impact, veins spasming and pulling away from the wound like worms recoiling from salt. I stabbed again, and again. Each hit tore more of the pulsing tissue apart, revealing layers underneath. Slick, twitching muscle, then wet bone, then something that looked like a vast network of tangled nerves. The whole tunnel shook. From behind me, I heard the thing shriek, a gurgling, chittering noise like thousands of tiny mouths tearing open at once. It was coming faster now. No more slow, deliberate dragging. It knew what I was doing. It knew I was hurting it. I dug the shard in deeper, carving a rough hole through the wall. My hands were slick with blood. Mine or the cave's, I couldn't tell. The air tasted metallic and foul, thick with rot and something sharp like burnt hair. The hole widened just enough to see a faint glimmer of light beyond it. Cold, bluish light. Not daylight, something else. But it was an exit. Or at least, not this. I shoved my body into the gap, feeling the fleshy membrane tear around me, sticky strands clinging to my suit. The cave tried to pull me back, veins snaking around my legs, tendrils lashing at my arms. But I fought harder, kicking, tearing, screaming into the pitch-black air. For one terrible moment, I felt hands, not tendrils, hands, grabbing at my ankles. Thin, brittle fingers with too many joints, clawing, pleading. I didn't look back. I tore myself free, half falling, half crawling through the ragged hole, into the unknown light beyond. I hit the ground hard on the other side, sliding across slick stone. My flashlight, miraculously still strapped to my wrist, sputtered back to life with a weak, shivering beam. And I saw where I was. Not another chamber, not freedom. A nest. Hundreds, maybe thousands of those same fleshy tendril creatures, all slumped in tangled heaps along the walls. Sleeping. Shuddering softly in rhythm with the breathing pulse of the cave. They hadn't seen me. Not yet. But one of them, the closest one, twitched, and slowly began to stir. I stayed frozen, barely breathing. The creature closest to me slumped back down, its twitching subsiding into slow, wet convulsions. Around it, the others continued their rhythmic pulsing, a grotesque mimicry of sleep. I had to move. As I edged along the wall, my flashlight's weak beam swept across the stone, and I saw it. Markings. Deep grooves, almost invisible against the pulsing flesh stone, spiraled across the surface like scars. Arrows. Symbols. A path, carved by someone before me. I followed the markings with my eyes, tracing them to a darker corner of the cavern. Then I saw it. The massive thing at the center of the nest. It wasn't like the others. It was huge. Rooted into the floor by thick cords of veined flesh. Its skin stretched taut over a skeleton too angular. Too wrong. Its head was a mass of writhing tendrils, shaping crude impressions of faces. Grinning, weeping, screaming. It wasn't breathing. It was dreaming. And the whole nest pulsed in rhythm with its dreams. If it woke, all of them would. I edged towards the carvings, my every step a fight against my own shaking body. Halfway across, the tendrils along the ceiling shivered. The massive creature twitched. The nest stirred. I stumbled the last few feet to the far wall, found a fissure hidden behind the markings, and squeezed through just as the nest exploded into motion. Tendrils lashed, bodies screamed. The massive thing in the center began to unfold. I forced myself upward through the narrow stone shaft, kicking at grasping fingers, clawing at slick stone until I burst into the open. Collapsed onto cold, wet grass. The sinkhole behind me was silent. The sky above was purple with dawn. The breathing was gone. For now. I don't know how long I lay there. Eventually, I staggered back to my truck and drove. I didn't look back. I haven't gone near that place since. But sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet and I can't sleep, I swear I can still feel the breathing. Soft at first, like the pulse of a distant tide. Getting closer. I moved last month, packed up everything, left the state. It didn't help. 2 nights ago, I found something on my living room floor. A wet, pale thread, about the length of my finger, still twitching. And last night, when I pressed my ear to the wall, I didn't hear the sounds of the city. I heard the stone breathing. And this time, it wasn't just calling my name. It was whispering how to find me. And that was I Was Cave Diving When I Found Something That Shouldn't Exist by Pentyworth223. So, the story's great. The story's great for quite a number of reasons. Number one, it immediately kind of pulls straight to a fascination I have with the idea of urban exploration and even in some cases cave diving. You know, just exploring places that, you know, people don't tend to go casually, right? It's like a mission, you know, and you tend to find some really interesting like footage, pictures, experiences and stuff in these places. And it's just such a great like morbid fascination with that kind of stuff. I love being able to look through like other people's urban exploration videos and stuff like that, pictures. I just love seeing like abandoned history, right? I think that stuff's really, really cool and exciting. Or even like when it comes to like shops and things like that or abandoned towns, it's just fucking cool. But I think, yet again, with cave diving, it's also the fact that you're going places where people really have not been typically, right? And in some cases, they're also flooded and stuff like that. Like, a lot of these caves are really precarious to get into and to, in some cases, get out of, you know? There's also the potential of the fact that there's like cave-ins, that there's all manner of danger besides just the fact that you might find a person or creatures in there. So it's horrifying on a number of levels. It's awesome. It also immediately made me think of Ted the Caver, one of the first creepypastas out there back in 2001. I've got a video on it in case you want to know the full story. It's quite long. It's really good. It's a great website. Still up if I remember correctly last time I checked. And it's just great. It's just a fantastic, crazy story. Which yet again, it's a creepypasta, so it's mostly true. And then there's quite a fair amount of liberties in the creation of what makes it a short horror story. Even though it's not exactly short, it's like over an hour long, really. So short is probably not the word I would best use to describe it, but it is technically a creepypasta because it's not real. But it is great. It's a great fun story, and yet again, it's about an experience with Ted and his buddy B, I think it was, cave diving. They're going to a very specific place they've been trying to get into for quite a long time, and creepy shenanigans happen. It's fucking great. It's awesome. There's also pictures and stuff like that. I don't remember if there's video. I think there's definitely pictures and diagrams, stuff like that. It's really cool. This also made me think of the movie, pretty much the entire movie franchise, Aliens, like all the Alien films, because there's a lot of like bizarre descriptions. There's this like somewhat hive mind kind of thing going on, which although isn't exactly what's going on here, because this is more like he's gone potentially inside something. But it's hard to say if that's exactly what's going on, because there's also the one big bizarro thing that maybe has expanded itself to the walls and maybe made this environment. I'm not exactly sure. Is it like an inside-out creature kind of thing? I don't know. I don't know exactly how it all works. Really excited by it, but it does make me think of that because in the Alien movies, there's typically a queen. There's a queen alien. And she's usually heavily protected by a bunch of like eggs, by a bunch of drone aliens and stuff like that, like all warrior types protecting her and stuff. But she's like typically somewhere really away from humanity, right? And there's more than one queen. But like, so she's laying eggs. She's kind of attached to an area. Like she doesn't really move until she's ready to go into combat because she's like having to defend herself. In which case she removes herself from her like fleshy sack entirely. It's fucking gross. The walls tend to get really disgusting and stuff. There's a lot of similarities to it, and I think it's fucking awesome. I really, really enjoy thinking about those kind of things. It also made me think of Chaos out of Sonic series, just because of like the fact that it's not exactly humanoid, and it's almost like I want to say the word gel. It's very fluidy, very liquid kind of, and it's able to like morph into a variety of shapes, and sometimes has tendrils and stuff like that. It's a cool concept, but like super fucking weird. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on this experience. When it comes to like movies and stuff, I don't really know if there's anything else that really comes to mind. Well, I suppose no, that's not entirely true. I would probably say I think it's The Descent, if I remember correctly, where basically is a number of people within like a cave structure, and they end up finding these horrific monstrosity of humanoid people. It's a great horror movie. It's a fucking great horror movie. So yeah, I would say that's probably the first one that comes to mind, which literally just came to my mind right now. That's yeah. Great movie. Horrifying. Anyway, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Bye for now. I either have a ghost in my room, or I'm being stalked by a real psycho. 2 weeks ago, I noticed some unusual activity on my computer. There were a few missing programs. The date and time were off, and dozens of empty folders that I didn't create were scattered across the desktop. To be honest, I thought it was my younger brother going into my things like he always does, so I didn't think much of it. That was until last Wednesday, when I received a text from my doctor telling me there was something unusual with the last video I sent him. I have sleep apnea, and I record myself sleeping every other week. So imagine my surprise when I checked the video and saw this. Still believing my brother had something to do with it, I sent in the video. Can you explain this? What the fuck is that? Do you have anything to do with this? Yes or no? No? He came to our room shortly thereafter and showed me like a dozen of haunted house videos and demonic possessions. Usually, I don't believe in the whole paranormal shtick, but I have to admit some of them were weirding me out. That being said, the other possibility scared me even more. That my computer had been hacked by some scammer. I immediately deleted all the sensitive information I had on there, locked my MetaMask, and signed out from any other site that had my credit card info. I also started leaving the screen cap on, just in case my brother was right about the ghost. I was ready to give up and forget the whole thing after 3 days without anything happening. But then yesterday morning, I found this on my browser's history. The sites varied. Some of them were links to pretty disturbing websites. Here's some screenshots of the few I dared to enter. I also found a folder filled with bizarre videos.
Follow my voice. 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 Follow my voice.
When I searched for the screen cap video from that night, it was nowhere to be found, as if the ghost had deleted it. My brother got even more scared at this point and suggested to check paranormal trends to see if there was a similar case elsewhere. Instead, I brought my hacker friend Ryan to check my computer. He discarded the issue as a prank since he couldn't trace the source of the hacking and only formatted my drive after I begged him to do so. Just in case, I also bought a nice antivirus and set up a password. I didn't know what to think. If they were hackers or scammers, they hadn't stolen anything yet. So, what's the point of hacking my computer anyway? Even though what Ryan did might have solved the problem, my mind kept wondering about what had happened so far. I resumed the recordings, this time with the camera positioned to catch more of my computer screen, and waited for the ghost to make its next move. What happened next left me with chills down my spine. Around 3 a.m. last night, my brother banged on my door. He wanted to show me a video that had just been uploaded to my Twitter account. From the angle, it's obvious the video was captured with my computer's webcam, so we checked the footage from the camera I left recording, and found this. This ghost was messing with me, and it was right there, watching. So I took the keyboard and typed, "Are you there?" It didn't take long to answer. "Are you there?" "Yes." And this is where I am now. What do you think? Is this just some psycho from a different time zone using my computer as a VPN? Or is a ghost coming for me? Didn't sleep at all last night, waiting for the ghost. He didn't show up. I'll keep you updated if anything comes up. After my last tweet on Tuesday, I lost access to my account. I was just able to get it back. Obviously, I'm blaming the ghost for this. I've received several DMs. I apologize if you got any messages from me between Tuesday and today morning. I might be paranoid, but I think my brother is acting weird. He hasn't left his room since Wednesday, and the door is locked. Okay, so this happened a couple minutes ago. I was at the office during lunch break when the phone rang. It was my brother. At least it sounded like him, but he was agitated. He didn't say anything and hung up after a few seconds. I just asked him about it, but he denied ever calling. A moment ago, I found my brother blocked me from Twitter. I caught him leaving the house in a hurry and kind of nervous. I asked him why he'd blocked me, but he just evaded the question and ran off. So weird. There must be a connection between what happened on my computer and this. Alex, that's my brother's name by the way, was fine before we had contact with the ghost. I had a nightmare yesterday. Alex was standing in my room, watching me sleep. It felt so real. I had to check he wasn't hiding behind the door. It looks like my brother started collecting stones. We were headed to his tennis practice when he stopped to pick one up from the sidewalk. He stopped thrice after that, but I pretended I didn't see it. They were similar to this one. Just had a call from Alex's teacher. Apparently, he left today's practice, with no explanation, soon after I was gone. He's not answering the phone. So, I came back home and found this box on the patio. I knocked on Alex's door, but there was no answer. I'm not even sure if he's there. Just came back from a party. I was about to go to bed, but I heard some noises. It's Alex, getting ready to go out. Where could he go at 4 a.m.? He just left the house. I'm going to follow him. I honestly don't know what he's doing in a place like this. He's just standing there. It's been a while now, and Alex hasn't moved. I'm so tired, I could barely keep my eyes open. Okay, Alex just got into a taxi. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. As soon as he gets home, I'll ask for an explanation for all this. I just woke up, and Alex hasn't come back yet. I've got to wrap up my head around everything that's been going on. Alex didn't come home last night. I've already asked everybody else in the family, but no one knows where he could be. I must have called him at least 20 times since yesterday, and he's not picking up. Alex is nowhere to be found, so I checked his room for any clues of his whereabouts and odd behavior. Under his bed, I found a bag full of stones, which was disturbing enough. But what really shocked me was what I discovered on his computer. Alex just came back and locked himself in his room again. I knocked repeatedly on his door with no answer. I don't know what he's doing in there. There's a smell coming from his bedroom. Now I'm hearing this weird sounds playing from his room. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. I need to know what's happening there. What the fuck? The power just went out in the whole house, and now I'm sure I smell like something is burning. I think I have no choice but to break into his room. I just broke down the door, and Alex was not inside. What on earth was he doing? I'm starting to think maybe Alex was the ghost after all. I know it's late, but I need to go outside and touch some grass right now. So I finally had a serious conversation with Alex, and gotta say, I didn't expect this outcome. After he came back home last night, I couldn't take it anymore and lashed out at him about how crazy he'd been acting these past few days. I asked him why he'd blocked me from Twitter, about the stones, the graveyard, and the bizarre spectacle in his room. I told him unless he gave me a reasonable explanation, I would contact our father and go as far as to get a therapist involved. He stood there without saying a word, which made me even angrier, so I stormed out of his room. He came to see me a little after that, saying he was ready to tell me everything. He said the ghost was real and that it was talking to him through his Twitter account. Alex told me he feared I wouldn't take it seriously, and bad things would happen if he involved anyone else, so he tried to get rid of the ghost by himself. These are some of the messages the ghost sent to my brother. Hey Alex, do you want to play a game? I know you believe I'm real, unlike your brother. I know everything about you. Your name, your phone, direction, family, down to your deepest secrets. I promise to keep it all a secret, but you have to keep our talks a secret as well. You will do as I say, and nothing bad will happen. Most important of all, do not talk to your brother Vince. Don't tell him anything. I will watch you day and night. And if you do as I say, I will be nice to him. Keep an eye on your Twitter. Interesting stuff you got in there. Should I share it with everyone? Don't worry, your brother won't see anything. I just blocked him. Are you the same ghost haunting my brother's computer? What do you want from me? You know who I am. I'll tell you what to do next, so wait for my instructions. I know the first thing you can do for me. What? I'm looking for a rock. All I know is that it's somewhere around your area, so be alert for any rock that looks peculiar. You better hurry up. What do you mean peculiar? Just keep sending more photos. And keep all the stones. Maybe you'll find the one I'm looking for. Don't throw any of them. I see you can't sleep. I need you to go somewhere, Alex. I know you're awake. I need you to go somewhere. Right now. What? Now? You know what time it is? Yes. It has to be now. Where do you need me to go? I'll tell you where. But first, I need you to start leaving your house right now. Hurry up. Go and wait there until I give you more instructions. Go. Of course, I don't think this has anything to do with any ghost. I don't know what kind of psycho or pervert we're dealing with, but the same person who hacked my computer did the same to my brother. I think everyone should know about this. Help me spread this information. Every retweet on this thread counts. Who knows how many people this psycho has been stalking? So be sure to follow me, as I will make it my task to unmask this MFer. Hi there, Editor Nathan here. This story so far is quite good. It's quite interesting. It's got some vibes of Red Monkey and a little bit of Gregory 88. It's pretty good, and there is more. But I need to kind of preface this. From this point onward, it gets very crypto bro, very sci-fi and less horror. You'll kind of see what I mean. I hope you enjoy the rest of the story. I'm so done with whoever you are. I don't care if you're a hacker, a ghost, a psycho, or some lame guy with too much time in his hands. Just leave me and my brother alone. I know you're there. Just say what you want, and let's get this over with. Well, I guess fun's over. Who are you? What do you want from us? I'm no psycho, and you are right, I'm not a ghost. I just enjoyed your thread very much and wanted to keep playing a little bit. That's all. Honestly, I didn't know you were paying so much attention to me. I must admit, you were interesting creatures. Creatures? Are you supposed to be funny or something? Relax, human. As I already told you, I was just having a bit of fun. You and your brother are very funny to hang out with. Besides, I never asked your brother to do all of that. Well, the graveyard and the stones were on me, but I had nothing to do with the crazier parts. To be honest, I didn't think humans got scared that easily. Your thread really spooked everyone, and now you'll have to bring them all back. I really wanted to see their reaction to what's coming. What? Who are you? What do you want? I had to go last night, human. There was a storm. This is pretty common on my planet, and I think that answers your question. I'm not from planet Earth. As to why I use precisely your computer, I have an answer, but I won't tell you. Yet. Well, it's a long story. I will just say that I've been trying to make contact with your planet for a very long time. Oh, and just for your peace of mind, you can believe me or not, so think whatever you want. I will not steal, swindle, or extort you. If that's what I wanted, believe me, I wouldn't have chosen your computer. So, you're from another planet, you say? What planet? You're not making any sense. But here's where your joke ends. If you want to talk seriously, show your face. I'm afraid it would be dangerous for me to do that. But I guess I can send you some other proof that I'm an alien, if that's what you're going for, human. And yes, I'm from another planet. One so far away, it could as well be another reality. Sure. Send me proof if you want to keep talking to me. Otherwise, go bother someone else. Did I notice skepticism in your words, human? So you were fine when I was a ghost, but if I'm from another planet, you don't believe me? What do you want from me, man? The joke is over. I've nothing you can steal from me. Why keep using my account? You had your fun messing with us. But why are you so mad, human? You should be thankful that more humans have been following you since I showed up. Your account was dead before me. Besides, we're still early. This is just the beginning. I think we are going to be a hell of a team, and I expect more and more humans to come and join us. Oh, what are you even saying? You're acting like a real nut job. Just show your face already. Hey, human. Are you there? Human? I can't show you my face, but how about this for proof? Remember the storm I mentioned? There was another one last night. They are different from human storms. This is more or less how they look. At least you now show up a decent time. To be honest, I've been trying to come up with a theory of why you keep doing this. What's your purpose? For now, let's entertain the ridiculous idea that you are an alien. So I ask, why would an alien be using my computer? That is a good drawing, I can't deny that. Is it yours? Oh, I don't know about human hours. I just show up when it's convenient and safe for me, like right now. And yes, I drew it myself. Answering your second tweet, as I told you, it's a long story, human, but I've always been curious about your planet and wanted to make contact. I'm glad I found you because you are funny. Okay. Thanks. I guess. And don't call me human, please. It's weird. You know my name is Vince. It's all around my computer. What's your name? You won't be able to accurately pronounce my name, I'm afraid. I was thinking about having a human name instead. Any suggestions? Sure. But first I'll need to see your face so we can figure that out. And, by the way, I'm not believing a word of what you're saying. Slow down, human. I think you are not understanding that this is dangerous for me, human. I'm telling the truth. I am an alien. Then prove it already. Because I'm telling you this joke has gone on for too long already. Well, I guess I could send you another little something, but you still won't believe me. What's that? All you did was draw something random again. Oh, it wasn't random at all, human. That's the view from my bedroom window. Not gonna lie, that looks awesome. I'm having a hard time imagining your room, though. Sorry, human. I had to turn everything off yesterday. Here, this is how my bedroom looks. Okay, your drawing looks nothing like a bedroom. Like a human bedroom, you mean? Oh, how funny. I forgot you were stalking me. Don't be ashamed of your room, human. I like the simplicity. Are you calling me poor? Reality hurts, human. Well, I guess you're not wrong. That actually made me laugh, by the way. Look, I admit your story of being an alien is interesting, and I see you're not a bad person or anything, maybe just a bit of a misfit. But can't you just finally tell me what's really going on? Okay, human. I guess you need to hear the whole story. From the beginning. Maybe then you'll get it. Okay. What's the story? Well, I guess he's finally gone. I'm back, human. Did you miss me? Sorry to keep you waiting, but I was preparing a little something for you. You said you wanted to know the whole story, right? Well, here it is. It'll be a long ride, so hold your questions till the end. Let's start from the beginning, shall we, human? This was before I met you and your brother, when I didn't know about this planet and I passed my days bored in my apartment. We even have robots. Those are cool, and you could tell them to do anything you want. I mostly ask them to bring me more booze, but I guess they also clean the house and such. By the way, you should try our beer, human. It'd blow your mind. But as with most cool things, soon enough you get tired of them, and pass your time binge-watching the latest intertemporal drama projected on the stars. Sometimes my friends would come over to my apartment, and we'd play games all night, gambling and drinking lots of alcohol. The apartment was a mess afterwards, but it was worth it. It was so much fun, and I always won tons of money. But by far my favorite pastime was to look at the universe outside my window. You see, human, as advanced as our civilization was, there are many things I dislike about living on my planet. This might be hard for you to imagine, but for many reasons that are hard to explain right now, we can't go outside. That's perhaps one of the things from the Earth that I envy the most. Humans can enjoy all kinds of outdoor activities and have fun outside without any sort of protection or special care. That would be unthinkable on my planet. That's right, if I wanted to leave my room, I'd have to go to some other indoor place to try and entertain myself. There's a cool space kart track close to my building. I love to shoot down other spaceships. Don't worry, nobody gets hurt. However, all I wanted to do was to explore what was outside my window. That darkness, full of bright stars. Don't get me wrong, human. My apartment was awesome, and I had fun with my friends. But something was missing. A void, aching to be filled. Then one day, I woke up to amazing news. A planet with advanced life forms had been discovered. Someone had leaked the official report and a picture of the planet. It was beautiful. Your planet has an inexplicable charm, human. You shouldn't take it for granted. It went viral. After all, not every day a planet with some possible sentient life form was found. For the longest time, our race was believed to be alone in the universe. I always considered it to be the saddest thought. To be alone. Looking through my window, though, it didn't look like it. Something must be out there, I'd think. And I turned out to be right. Everyone was talking about it, and the news spread through our community network. Something similar to the Earth's internet. Every other channel of this network was talking about it. Channels are like chat rooms, just so you get what I mean, human. Asking all kinds of questions. Where was this new planet? What kind of life form was living there? Were they dangerous? I bought the latest model machine with a high-speed connection and spent most of my time through every channel where the topic of the new planet was discussed, reading the comments and commenting myself. I locked myself in my room. Suddenly, I didn't need to find a new place to pass the time. I stopped going to discos, restaurants, and parties. I use these human terms so you can understand me. My friends still keep coming to play and gamble with me, but even with them, I talked about the new planet. Not everyone was happy about it, though. My friends believed the authorities were using the new planet as a distraction from other, more real problems. Just like your planet, big issues were going on in mine, human. I'm not going to bug you with details because it's neither the time nor the place. But some of my friends could be quite the radicals, you know. There were many theories about this new world. I even came up with a few, and one in particular became quite popular. That this new planet was inhabited by giant monsters. I know, I was way off, human. But back then it was a real possibility. Other theories went even further and said the creatures, that's what we called the humans then, had sharp fangs and eyes all around their bodies to help them hunt. I guess rumors got out of hand, and many got scared that the new creatures could come to our planet. Panic started to run through the community network. Channels dedicated to preparing for an imminent invasion became the norm. There was this one ran by one of the local heroes that got a lot of attention. He was against the inaction and suggested an expedition to the New World to get ahead of the creatures. Whatever it was we could find there, we had to make the first move. I think this was the catalyst for all the events that followed. Soon afterwards, there was a disruption in the network and all the channels went silent. Oh, it was the worst, human. You couldn't do anything. The network was dead. Not one channel seemed to be functioning. Still, I tried to find something out there. Perhaps if I kept looking, I could find a channel that was still working. Some new comments. Anything about the new planet. But it was a lost cause. Even when some brave activists dared to post something about it, the comment would be erased immediately and the account banned. Rumors said the owner of the account would be in danger too. I'm not gonna lie, human. I was scared of posting anything myself. Why would I risk my awesome life just to kindle a conversation about a planet that maybe wasn't even real? As you might have guessed it by the things I said, freedom on my planet is restricted. I'm not saying this for you to pity me, human. If anything, I'm one of the lucky ones. I've lived a comfortable life with all luxuries that money can afford. I got my friends after all, my disco nights and my cool apartment. What did I have to complain about? I had to protect that human, so I did what everybody else was doing and shut up. It didn't take long after that for the authorities to come out and say what I feared. Everything was just a lie. There was no planet. The leak had been false. Furthermore, to prevent any future chaos, it became forbidden to even talk about the planet. Just like that, I was forced to go back to my boring, ordinary life. Or so I thought, human, because the whole drama, yeah, just like my shows, was just starting. I tried everything to take my mind off the issue. I visited some new places like this light-speed roller coaster. I also bought some fancy new things I had always wanted to buy. How cool is this power armor from my favorite show? But nothing seemed to work. Standing in front of my bedroom window, gazing at the stars in the distance, I longed for this planet that didn't exist. Perhaps it was because I never truly gave up, or because I was in the right channel at the right time, but sometime later I stumbled onto something interesting. It was on for barely a few seconds, and I doubt anyone else saw it. I captured the image just before it vanished. Don't worry, human. Not even I understood what it said. If it was a language, it was not one from my planet. You see, unlike on Earth, there's only one official language on my planet that everybody spoke and understood. I always thought it was rather stupid how humans had so much trouble to understand each other. That's why I just went with English, which was the most popular language on Earth. Whatever it meant, I couldn't figure it out. I spent every time I was not playing with my friends trying to crack the code. Even if there was the possibility of it being a prank or a nonsense message, I just knew it, human. It was about the new planet. A new hope. For that very reason, I couldn't tell anyone about it. Whoever posted the message risked his safety to pass on valuable information. Remember that local hero I mentioned, human? To make an example of him, the authorities locked him up for insubordination. They sent a whole army to capture him. Not even a hero like him has a chance against that, but he put up a good fight until the end. Videos and photos of him, defeated, on the ground, were everywhere on the channels. Obviously, they were uploaded by the authority to spread fear. This will happen to you too if you persist. That was the message. They searched a few apartments, looking for any more rebels. Not gonna lie, human. I was scared that had they searched mine, it would have been the end for me. You see, human, the authorities didn't like me that much to begin with. I haven't mentioned this yet, but my family has an important history. There are 4 industries that rule my planet: electricity, alcohol, food, and the biggest one, entertainment. And my family is the king of entertainment. Or at least it once was. Remember the console that lets you play games in your dreams? Well, that was invented by one of my ancestors. It was a really big deal back when it was launched, and almost everyone had one. On my planet, things are a bit different to what you humans are used to. For us, one of the most powerful things you could have is a good story. Who doesn't love a good story? Well, on my planet, you have the power to change the world with a story, and that's why the authorities hated my ancestors' game. You see, human, when enough of us dream about something, it becomes real. All of that started with my ancestors' invention. The console not only allowed you to play games in your dreams, they actually turned them into reality. My ancestor didn't invent just a game, he gave us a new power. Just imagine it, human. Your nightmares becoming real. We would dream the craziest things, and then those things would appear in the real world. Of course, the authorities went after my ancestor. They wanted him to pay for what he'd initiated, but nobody knows if they actually got him. They also banned the console and tried to destroy them all. But it didn't work. Dreams and nightmares kept becoming real nonetheless. My ancestor's game had opened a gate that couldn't be sealed. That's probably the main reason why the authorities wanted to make the story of the New World disappear. If enough people started believing in it, they would have dreams about it. Soon enough, the new planet with scary monsters would become real. Have I mentioned my favorite show already? Well, it's awesome, human. You have to watch it no matter what. It's a story of heroes that fight against evil monsters. Well, when the show became widely popular, the heroes started to appear among us. And of course, the monsters. Remember the message I found on the channels? Well, I did my best trying to crack the code, but it was impossible. I'm not very good with puzzles to begin with, human, and eventually I just gave up. Many suns went by, too many to count, decades in human time, and eventually nobody talked about the new planet anymore. Lots of things changed from that time. Although I was still living in the same place surrounded by the same things, I was different. My friends stopped coming over to my place to have fun, and I didn't go out on my own. I'd almost forgotten everything about the new planet until I got a letter. It appeared in my inbox by an anonymous sender. The letter had symbols to the message I discovered on the network. I was right about it. But this time something was different. This time I remembered I had seen those symbols before. I looked everywhere, human. I visited every spot I thought had the potential to be the right place, but none of them was. It took me some digging, but finally, after many suns, I found it. An abandoned building. I'm not sure when or why I'd come to this place before, but everything about it was familiar. I explored every corner of the building, and soon enough, inside one of the rooms, I found a machine. It had a spherical shape with a large hatch at the front. To get the answers I was looking for, I had to open it. That was clear. The symbols were on the walls, all around the machine. Just as I'd hoped, they were almost identical to the 2 previous letters. I had no idea about their meaning, but something about them felt strongly familiar, like they were speaking to me. That was it, human. The reason I couldn't crack the code was that it was no code at all. Not one I had to decipher, at least. Next to the hatch was a rectangular box with a blue button, and I just knew it, human, that it was waiting only for me. I approached the machine without any hesitation and pushed it. Nothing happened at first, human. Just silence. Soon enough, however, an out-of-this-world sound filled the room like water. After that, the hatch opened. Inside, it was much cooler than I'd imagined. Of course, at first, I found everything in darkness, and it felt as if no one had stepped foot inside in a very long time. But once I discovered how to turn the lights on, it was pure luck, human, I'll admit it. I was in for a surprise. It felt like I was inside a giant robot. It was big, human. The main cabin had a holographic panel with all sorts of information that made no sense to me. As I said, it gave the impression no one had been inside for who knows how long, but at the same time, everything was in perfect shape. After that, I visited the machine as much as I could. To keep the location a secret, though, I could only do it when it was dark. With the hype for the new planet gone, the authorities were silent. Nevertheless, I knew the slightest of rumors would bring them back. Even though the building was abandoned, it was located in a populated area, so I had to be careful. It took a lot of time and effort, human. It wasn't easy, and many more suns had to pass to understand the basics of the machine. To be honest, I'm still not sure that I do. But things became easier, and as you might have predicted by reading this story, human, it was with the help of this machine that I managed to find the truth. That there is a new world out there, and it's called Earth. And that's my story, human. Hope you liked it. Now you can ask any questions. Interesting story, but still, this doesn't prove anything. I just didn't mind enough to stop you. You should have ended with a joke. Now, let me guess. You wanted me to see this, right? I'm a little insulted, human. I just told you my whole life story, and this is how you treat me? That's just a puzzle, an unsolvable one, at that, if you ask me. Why would I want you to see that, human? I don't know, alien. Why do you do anything? Maybe you want me to ask you what that puzzle is. You wouldn't get it in a million suns, human. You have to put 12 symbols in the correct order. I've tried countless times, and it's impossible. I see. I should have seen this coming. Let's just get this over with. You want me to try it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have shown me those symbols. I get it. You are funny, human. If you want to try it, fine with me. But as I told you, you'll never guess it. Not in a million suns. Okay. I have an idea then. Since you like making bets so much, and you think I'm gonna fail, how about this? If I do get it right, you show me your face, and we put an end to this joke. Oh, I like the way you think, human. I wouldn't have guessed you humans liked taking chances. Well, despite the risks of showing my face, all odds are in my favor. So what if you fail, human? What's in it for me? I don't imagine there's anything you can give me. Just tell me what you want, and let's get this over with. So? Hello, human. Are you there? I kept thinking about what you could give me if I won, and I believe there's one thing I want. Do you remember this tweet I sent you? Well, I want to ask you a favor about that. What kind of favor? It's just a simple but important favor for me. Don't worry, it's nothing illegal or suspicious, but you must promise me that if you lose, you will fulfill your end of the deal. I just need your word. I say I have nothing to lose at this point, so I'll do you that favor. But that'd be it. After that, I want you to leave me alone. If you're okay with that, you have my word. Okay, human, I'm gonna miss you, but it sounds fair. We have a deal then. You have my word too. I'm thinking 3 tries would be fine, so you can solve the puzzle. Okay, we have a deal. And sure, 3 attempts are more than enough to end all of this. Great, human. Let's begin. Take your time. No pressure. I have an option already. That was fast, human, but too bad. I'd think it through next time. By the way, what are these symbols? Oh, human, my bad. I forgot to tell you that the symbols change every time you fail. This is the new order. I knew I couldn't trust you in the slightest, but I want to finish this as soon as possible, so here's my second guess. Wrong again, human. What's the matter? You sounded so confident before. 1 more to go. I hope you'll keep your word. Well, I guess fun's over. I'll keep my word. I hope you do the same and leave me alone. Well, what happened? Sorry, human. I'm still trying to assimilate the things that happened these last suns. It all started with your 3rd attempt, so let's start from the beginning. I still don't know how you did it, but as soon as I entered the last sequence you gave me, a secret compartment behind a wall opened. In the distance, you could see there was something very bright inside, almost like a small star. As I got closer to whatever that thing was, it started to look like some kind of portal. All around this portal there were 10 doors, all of them emanating a fluorescent glow and completely locked. All of them but one. Of course, I opened it and found this. They looked like ancient guns from a different time. On a closer look, though, they were filled with the shiny fluid. Surprising as this was, it wasn't the most shocking discovery. This might sound stupid to you, human, so I don't expect you to understand the magnitude of what this means. But everything, absolutely everything in this room, is written in English. From this moment on, I became obsessed with this secret room. I started to come regularly after the sun to explore it, trying to find the truth behind it and how it all worked. And then, on my last visit, the weirdest thing happened. When I entered the hidden room, I found some footprints. How could it be? The machine was supposed to be hidden, and no one but me had access to it. It was a scary moment, human. I tried to check the machine's security camera, which made me go back to the main cabin. But for as much as I tried, the process was way more complex than I anticipated. While I was busy working the security cameras, I heard an odd noise. I immediately went to the room and found that someone had taken a gun. I just lost it, human. I was scared and angry, because I felt someone or something was messing with me or worse. I didn't know if I should abandon the machine and go into hiding. In the end, I just stayed locked inside the main cabin and worked on the security cameras to figure out how to see the footage. I expected many things, human. That the authorities had finally found me, and I was doomed. Or that someone's dream creature had made its way inside. I even considered it was my ancestors sending me some kind of message. But not in a million suns did I expect to see what I just saw moments ago, when I finally got the security tapes. Not only that, but when I got back to the secret room to verify what I'd just witnessed, I found this on the portal. That's when it hit me. You were behind all of this, human. Solving the impossible puzzle, unlocking the secret room where everything is in English, and finally the creature coming out of the portal taking the gun. It all points to you. Don't get me wrong, human. I'm not mad at all. If anything, I'm proud. Well played, human. It seems like you finally got your revenge. I'll admit, you got me this time. Who would have thought at the beginning of all this you were the one going crazy, and now the one who ended up crazy is me? But well, now it's time to pay that bet, human. I gave you my word, and you'll be the first human to ever see the face of an alien. That said, I have to be extremely careful, now more than ever, so we'll do it privately. Oh, and one last thing, human. This just showed up in the portal. I assume it's part of your plan too. And that was the VDAH, or Vince's, Twitter story. So this is it's okay. Let's do positives, negatives. Positive. It's almost like it's two stories in one, right? So you have what starts off with this kind of interesting potential horror / hacker. Either way, it's a horrifying situation in some way, shape, or form, right? And it's got video, it's got pictures, it's got text, it's got it's quite good. It's got intrigue and mystery. Yet again, as I probably mentioned in the middle, it made me think a little bit of Gregory 88 in some regards, but also like Red Monkey. There were definite vibes of both. And then after I kind of cut in what I call the midpoint of the story, where you have the reveal of the alien, and the alien ends up telling their story with all the. I mean, the moment I started seeing some of those graphics, I immediately was like, I can already tell where this is going. I can already tell just based on how it looks, because I've seen so much NFT nonsense. I've seen so much crypto things and everything like that, and that the artwork is. Granted, yes, it's not always the same, but a lot of it does look like that kind of stuff. And so it was. I was hoping I was going to be wrong, but I did know based on my initial analysis of this, obviously Twitter channel, Twitter account, Twitter profile, and then sorry, I keep calling it Twitter. I can't get on with calling it X. It just doesn't work with the way that I use terminology. So I'm gonna keep calling it Twitter, even if it irritates you. Don't care. And then obviously the fact that it also connects to he's a co-founder of Mucan, so another Twitter profile. So I had to obviously look into some of these and figure out where all the story takes place and blah blah blah. Yeah, I try my best to do some research and everything, just so I know what I'm getting into ahead of time. And yeah, I mean, it's not a bad story. It's not a bad story. It's quite fun. There's some interesting little sci-fi elements and everything. I just wish it ultimately wasn't like so crypto heavy at the end. And I mean, some people might be like, crypto heavy, what are you talking about? That I didn't see anything crypto in there. I mean, like the puzzles and everything like that, they were all just a variety of different cryptocurrencies, and yeah, just. And the fact that the gun said free, which immediately made me think like, oh well, it's like a collectible of some sort, or a non-fungible token or some shit. So clearly I was very right, as I will share with you. But yes, no, ultimately though, I did think the story was fun. I did enjoy the story. I just didn't love the fact that ultimately it was all one big advertisement for NFTs and cryptocurrency and things like that. But, it's still a story, and I still thought it was cool and worth sharing to an extent. So let me go ahead and just show you a little bit of this. So obviously this is the creator VDAH, also goes by Vince in the story. Don't know if that's a real name. Understandable if we don't know. Which, yeah, yet again, this is like their profile, and it very quickly goes into talking about crypto things and everything like that. If you keep scrolling down, it's just all kinds of. Anyway, but then they've got a little website here, and it's like, oh, okay, well, if I click that, well, I already know OpenSea is crypto territory anyway. And yeah, yet again, this is Mucan's the prototypes, and yeah, here's that ray gun that was in the story. Which, by the way, you can make an offer for it. I'm not saying you should, because it's been there for like 2 years, I think. So, yeah. Then the other channel, obviously, profile, is Mucan's, because they're the co-founder of Mucan's, which are emerging from a distant galaxy. Like, yet again, this is kind of cool and everything, but then it just immediately gets into, at Sol Big Brain with the gun and the apes, and just, I don't. It just, the block hole, like blockchain, and just, it's so. And yet again, you got another little website here you can check out, which takes you to Mucan's, the prototype's first drop, which was free at the time. They only had 100, but this was yet again a couple of years ago. And yeah, it's literally an exclusive supply of 999 NFTs in the Ethereum chain. So, yeah, it's kind of exactly what it says on the tin, I'm afraid. Which is fine. There's nothing super wrong about it. I am not a financial channel. I am not here to give financial advice. You know, ultimately, your decisions are your own. I will not be held accountable for any of that. My personal opinions on the matter are it's obviously a massive gamble and a risk, and quite frankly, a lot of it is very scammy and an issue. And so, in which case, I will not tell you where to throw your money or how to spend it, nor how to invest it. I am a story channel. So, you know, I'm a storyteller. It's not my wheelhouse, you know, it's not my wheelhouse. Yeah, anyway, this has been, it's been a fun little time. It has been a pretty fun little time. I've overall enjoyed the story, regardless of that fact. And I'm really glad I got to find it and read it and share it with all of you. I do have 2 other potential stories coming up, which is good. Maybe even a third, which is obviously great. Obviously, that's the kind of stuff you want to hear. One of them is not very long, but it's I think it's still worth covering. I think it's still very worth covering and dissecting it and discussing it. Yes, I've been okay. I'm just rambling now. I've been late at night, and I've had a fantastic time, and I sure hope you have too. What did you think of the story? I'm really curious about your thoughts. Did it make you think of anything else? Did anything else maybe pop into mind? I'm really curious. Give me your comments. Let me know down below. Did you know that we have a Reddit community now? Which, by the way, is a fantastic place to also pop in your own stories, whether they're scary or not. And there's a great chance that I will narrate those stories, or I might even get other voice actors involved. Who knows? Maybe you want to do discussions, or you want to do theory crafting. The Reddit community is open to all, for all that kind of nonsense. Sounds like a great time to me. I've had a fantastic time, my friends. I really hope you take care out there. We'll see you for whatever's next. Cheers. My new office job is really weird. Hey, Reddit. I don't post here much, and I honestly debated even putting this out there. But something weird is happening, and I need to get it off my chest. Or maybe just see if anyone else has gone through something similar. I started a new job last week. Kind of. It's complicated. I'm a 33-year-old father of 2. I was working as director of operations for a company I won't name, but it was well known, decently sized, and I was making good money. About a month ago, I got laid off out of nowhere. Budget restructuring, they said. I was spiraling. Mortgage, kids, all that. I hadn't even told my wife yet when I got a call from a private number. Guy on the other end sounded mid-40s, friendly, professional. Said he was sorry to hear about my situation, and then offered me a job. I never gave out my resume. No idea how he got my number or knew I'd been let go. I asked for details, and he just said, "We like how you work. We'd like to see it in a different environment." Vague as hell, but he gave me a meeting point, 9 a.m. sharp the next day. A payphone downtown, a few blocks from where I live. I know how this sounds. I know I should have just walked away, but I was desperate, and it was public, so I figured, worst case, I just don't get in the car. I showed up the next morning dressed for an interview. A black SUV pulled up. Clean, expensive, windows tinted like a hearse. Guy in a suit opened the door for me without saying a word. Somehow, he knew who I was. I got in. The man inside was all smiles. He greeted me like we were old colleagues, shook my hand, said, "You clean up well, Mr. Langston. Let's get started." The drive was short, maybe 10 minutes, and completely silent. We pulled into the lot of a plain, windowless building, office park kind of place, but no signage. Inside, the air smelled faintly like chlorine. Everything was white, fluorescent lighting, long, identical hallways. He walked me down one flight of stairs, then through what felt like a dozen corridors. No windows, no clocks. Finally, we stopped at a door with a badge reader. He swiped a card, opened it, and stepped inside. "This is your station." The room looked like a break room, and an office had a baby. One desk, one computer, a filing cabinet, coffee machine, microwave. Weirdly sterile. No decorations. On the desk was a monitor, already on. The screen read, "Welcome, candidate number 345. We're glad you're back." That last part stuck with me. Back? I've never been here before. "So, what exactly do I do here?" I asked. The man smiled politely, but before he could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and said, "One moment." Then he stepped out of the room and shut the door. That's when it got weirder. There was a photo on the wall. Employee of the month. It was me. Same face, same haircut, even the same suit I was wearing. Smiling like I'd just won the lottery. The date under it was August 14th, 2024. That's next month. I thought maybe this was some onboarding prank or someone with a sense of humor. But the photo looked real. A little too real. Then I noticed a filing cabinet in the corner. I opened it. Inside were black binders labeled with simple numbers. 1, 2, 3, etc. I pulled out number 3. Inside was a CD, no label. The computer had a disk drive, so I slid it in and hit play. It was me, on the screen. Same room, same clothes, same dead eyes. I was sitting at the desk, staring at the camera. Then I started talking. Candidate number 345. If you're watching this, the test has restarted. That means you failed, or the parameters changed. My voice was flat, no emotion. I didn't even blink. Don't trust the mirrors. They're not calibrated right. And if you see your family, leave. That's not them. The screen cut to static. I sat there for a moment, just breathing. Then I noticed a small envelope had been slipped under the door. I hadn't heard anything. Inside was a post-it note. The microwave is not a microwave. I turned and looked at it. Just a regular stainless steel appliance. But when I stepped closer, I caught my reflection in the door. At first, it looked normal. But then I noticed something. My reflection was clenching its jaw. I wasn't. It blinked. I didn't. I backed away and went straight for the computer. A new folder had appeared on the desktop. Personal feedback. Inside was a document labeled Performance Review. Candidate number 345. There were bullet points. Notes. Subject showed confusion during entry. Normalized within 10 minutes. Reacted emotionally to photostimulus. Wife. Memory markers. Freckles. Beach. Shoulder birthmark. Triggered hesitation. Mirror test. Semi-successful. I stared at the last line. Memory markers. They knew about the birthmark on my wife's shoulder. I hadn't told anyone that. It's a tiny thing, but it's one of the first things I noticed about her when we met. She hates it. Thinks it looks like a smudge. I love it. But here's the thing. The last time I saw her, really saw her, it wasn't there. Now I don't know what's happening. I don't know what this job is, or what I'm supposed to be doing. I haven't left this room. There's no clock, no phone signal. Every so often I hear footsteps outside the door. But no one comes in. And every time I check the wall, the Employee of the Month photo has changed. The smile's different. The suit is darker. And today, she's in the photo with me. My wife. She's wearing a name tag. It says, Observer A. I haven't decided if I'm staying another day. I don't know what happens if I try to leave. I don't even know how long I've been here anymore. But one last thing, and this is what really pushed me to post. There's a second folder on the desktop now. It's called Candidates. It was hundreds of files, each named with a number. I opened one at random. Candidate number 344. It's a photo of a man slumped at the desk I'm sitting at now. He's not moving. Under the image is a line of text. Incomplete termination. Emotional anchor unresolved. Anyway, sorry this is so long. I don't know if this is a black site, a psych experiment, corporate R&D, or something else entirely. But if anyone out there knows what candidate number 345 means, or has ever been in a job where nothing seems real, please message me. Because I can't stop thinking about that photo. And the fact that Rachel's freckles are gone. Update. It's been a little while since I last wrote, but I've got quite the update. After posting, I stayed at my desk and kept digging through the computer. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else on it. At least, nothing I can access. I tried to get the man from earlier to come back, but there's no phone, no intercom, no way to reach anyone. Which is weird, because I distinctly remember him saying, "If you need anything, just call." I decided to try leaving. I walked over to the door, half expecting it to require a key card or something, but it opened right up, just unlocked. That felt wrong. Once I stepped into the hallway, I realized I had no idea which direction to go. I couldn't remember the path I'd taken to get there. Everything was just white, clean, fluorescent lights. The air still smelled like chlorine. I picked a random direction, right, and started walking. The smell got stronger the farther I went. At the end of the hall, I hit more turns, more clean white corridors. I figured I'd run into an exit sign eventually. Aren't those required by law? But nothing. Just more sterile maze. I wasn't keeping track of where I was going. I passed one hallway, then another. Finally, I saw a door. This one had a label. Monitoring room. Interesting. It was locked. One of those card reader locks. I tried it anyway, but it didn't budge. I pressed my ear against it. I couldn't hear anyone inside, but there was a humming, like a machine. Same pitch as fluorescent lights. Constant. Cold. I kept moving. Eventually, I noticed a stretch of hallway ahead that was completely dark. No overhead lights, just a faint blue glow coming from around the corner. As I walked toward it, the lights flickered on automatically. Motion activated. I turned the corner and saw an elevator. It had a single button. Down. I pressed it. Figured I was already this deep. May as well keep going and try to find someone, anyone, who could explain this place. The door opened instantly. I stepped in. Soft elevator music was playing. Something cheerful and generic. The kind of music that somehow makes things feel even more unsettling. Inside, there was still only one option. Down. I hit the button. The elevator started descending. When the doors opened, I stepped into more white hallways. No signs. No doors I recognized. It felt like I was walking forever. And then finally, a window. It had frosted glass, the kind that blurs everything behind it. But I could make out two figures, men in suits, talking. I knocked. I waved. They turned. One of them pointed at me. They both stared for a moment, then quickly turned away and walked out of the room. I had to find them. I moved down the hallway and saw a door. This one had a label, Interview Room. There was a little flip sign under the label that read, Session in Progress. The door required a security card, but it was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. Inside, it looked exactly like a standard HR interview setup. Neutral beige walls, 2 chairs, 1 table, a cheap plastic pitcher of water and 2 paper cups. But one of the chairs was pushed back and knocked over. There was a cup still sitting on the table, half full, with fresh condensation, like someone had just left. On the floor, I saw a clipboard. There was a form on it labeled, Candidate number 346, Early Recall Protocol. Across the page, handwritten in frantic block letters, Do not tell them what you remember. As I read it, I looked up and noticed a small camera in the top corner of the room. A red light was blinking slowly. I turned to leave. That's when I realized I was being watched. There was a mirror on the wall with that faint beige tint that two-way glass always has. I stepped closer and saw a figure on the other side. A person, just standing there. Still. Motionless. Then they noticed me noticing them. The lights in the room flickered off for exactly 2 seconds. When they came back on, the clipboard was gone. The door was exactly how I'd left it. But the clipboard was just gone. I don't know how that's even possible. I speed walked out and didn't stop moving. I didn't even know where I was going. I just walked. Eventually, I passed another window, one of the same frosted glass walls. But this time there were 3 people sitting inside, all in suits, all talking casually like it was a conference call. I pressed my ear as close to the glass as I could without them seeing me. I heard one of them say, "No, this baseline empathy is still too high. We might need to loop the wife again." I froze. My wife? I slammed my fist against the glass. "Hey!" They looked at me again. calm, unbothered. Then they just stood up and left the room. I was angry. My heart was pounding. What were they doing with my wife? I ran. I sprinted down hallway after hallway, not even thinking, just moving. Then I saw someone. At the far end of a long corridor stood the same man from the beginning. The one who brought me here, just standing there, staring. I stopped running, tried to catch my breath, fixed my hair for some reason, and started walking toward him. As I got closer, the lights behind me started to turn off. One by one, every few steps. He smiled, tilted his head slightly. "I see you found your way to the interview room," he said. I gave him a hard look. "You weren't supposed to leave." There was a pause. "Come with me. Let's return to your working station." "No," I said. "I want to leave. I've been here for God knows how long. I've no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't even know what I'm getting paid." He cut me off by handing me something. A check. $300,000. I stared at it. Is this some kind of joke?" I asked. He smiled gently, almost like a parent indulging a child. "When you are finished here, you will be greatly rewarded for your time and efforts." I didn't know what to say. Honestly, I was starting to second-guess everything. Was I overreacting? Was this just some kind of bizarre corporate onboarding? An experiment? I followed him back to the room. We didn't talk on the way. The halls felt longer this time. Or maybe I was just noticing things differently. The uneven spot on the floor, the faint buzz every few lights. When we got back to my room, I expected him to open the door and leave. But he stepped in with me. That same smile, polite, empty, never left his face. "There's been an update," he said. The computer was already on. A new folder had appeared on the desktop. This one was titled Decompression. I asked what that meant. He didn't answer. "Please sit down," he said. I hesitated, then sat. The moment I did, the door clicked shut behind me. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a small voice recorder, placed it on the desk, and hit record. The red light blinked. "What do you remember about the beach?" The question hit me weird. Not which beach, not have you been to the beach, just what do you remember about the beach? I didn't answer. He asked again, slower. "What do you remember about the beach?" I still didn't respond. My hands were sweating. My mind was racing, but I wasn't thinking about a beach. I was thinking about that photo of Rachel, Observer A, and how her birthmark was gone. He tapped the recorder twice, stopped it, and said, "Still anchored. We'll need another cycle." Before I could ask what that meant, he turned and left, shutting the door behind him. A new message popped up on the monitor. "Do not close your eyes." That was an hour ago. I'm still sitting here. I haven't blinked in what feels like minutes. And just now, the microwave beeped. I didn't touch it. I'm typing this now, and I've just realized my phone is missing. I want to call my wife. I want to tell her everything. I miss her. I hope she's not scared. I'll post another update soon. And that was My New Office Job is Really Weird by Man Behind Reality. We found him. It's your fault. It's a great name. So I found this story to be quite interesting. It's got a level of psychological fear for sure, but I would say it's not crazy. Well, I suppose no. The more you really kind of break into it and try to dissect what's going on and attempt to figure out what's happening, yeah, it is a bit more horrifying as it goes on. We don't know what the goals of this organization are. We don't know what the goings on are, or what even they really do exactly. From my potential understanding and breakdown, it feels like they are bringing in people, these candidates. And the problem with it being a candidate is it usually means that they're going to do something with those people, not have them be just regular, office employee jobbies or whatever, right? And it feels like they're doing some kind of, maybe not quite cognition testing. It does feel like it's more, maybe they're trying to, I don't know, break them as humans, I suppose. It feels like they're trying to do a level of controlling, right? Which is strange. From my understanding, as the story kind of goes on, it feels like our protagonist is losing sections of time, right, from their memory. In which case, they don't know how long they've been in this place. It looks like, the fact that they think that time isn't quite in the same sequence that, like for example, when they come in and there's the employee of the month picture up, and it's them, but like the next month, like in the future, right? Which obviously is strange. How could it be from the future when the future hasn't even happened yet? And there's so many weird ties that really make it feel like he's been here before, probably multiple times. And it sounds like whatever they're trying to do with him clearly is maybe kind of taking form. I mean, otherwise you feel like they just kind of give up on him after a point, right? If they kept messing with the same guy multiple times, after a point you feel like, well, clearly whatever we're doing isn't working. Give up on this one, go to a different candidate. But then there's also the fact there's 345 candidates, at least that we're aware of. There could still be more. I mean, yet again, he finds that there's a bunch of other files and everything, including the fact that at random, he picks candidate 344, the one who specifically came before him. Not very random, if you ask me. There's a variety of little pokeable parts of this story. Like, there was also, like, a clipboard that was brought up. The fuck did the clipboard come in? When was that a relevant plot point? I don't know. I could nitpick, I'm sure, but I'm not really here to do that. I'm trying to understand what's going on in this bizarro organization, really. And I feel like they're doing experimentations on people, absolutely. But I don't think it's like using, operating tables and implanting things in people's minds. It does feel like it's more the environment itself, and maybe it is supposed to be some kind of a psychological, maybe not psychological warfare, but I suppose you could still class it as that because, if this is stuff done against their will, I mean, it's certainly not consenting, I'll tell you that much. It's just an oppressive, bizarre environment. It's not like the best. There's so many weird things about it, right? And so it could easily parallel into a variety of different answers. But it's interesting. I also love the fact that he's so hell-bent on the fact that, like, his wife looks different. Like, I mean, not having the birthmark, I think that's quite interesting. Not having freckles, I don't find that one to be as strange. Because, see, I've got freckles. Well, I had freckles. I think I've still got some freckles. But over time, sometimes you get more freckles and sometimes they fade. So that's not the weirdest one to me. The birthmark disappearing, that one's quite strange. That you have to, like, specifically have removed, or in which case, if they're making, like, duplicates of people, in which case maybe not everything carries over, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of things. Also, like, the microwave is not a microwave. There's so many things in here that are just, I'm so curious about. And it sounds like there might end up being more of the story at one point, which would be fantastic, in which case we'll definitely come back to, because I really want to kind of know what's going on. Things that this made me think of, well, one of the first things that immediately came to mind was the TV show Severance, which I've only just started, but bizarro, office-like environment, really strange things going on, figuring out how everything works and what the fuck is going on. Very much so. Very much feels like that, except in Severance, they're not exactly alone. So there is that. It also weirdly made me think of Room 1408, just because of the fact that it feels like it's kind of a cycle with a variety of factors that are meant to disturb our protagonists and give them, well, just a horrific experience. Except in 1408, obviously, like it is a psychological horror, I would say, as well. But it does have like other varieties of horror elements, and the point is the room wants people to go in there and die. At least that's what I kind of took away from that. But luckily, like, our protagonist in that, well, he won. He did really good. It's a great movie. Great movie if you haven't seen it. How a room can haunt somebody. It's fucking awesome. I suppose you could also think about, yet again, it's got ties to, like, vibes of Men in Black, or The X-Files, or, maybe like Enemy of the State or something like that, Yeah, it's yet again loosely connected, not exactly full-on connections. It also makes me think of the story project that I'm working on, the Infinity Bureau, because yet again it's just a secretive organization. Except my thing isn't meant to be that the organization is weird and doing spooky, strange shit and horrifying. It's more that they analyze, interpret, and contain dangerous anomalies and things like that. It kind of feels like a little bit of like SCP and shit like that. But there's stories attached to it. So I would say it definitely feels kind of like SCP and Control, things like that. It's been a pretty sweet story. I'm really glad I got to read it. Thank you yet again, Man Behind Reality, for this opportunity. I'm excited to see the next part when it comes out, man. I've been Nate at night. I've had a fantastic time, and I sure hope you have too. We will see you for whatever's next. Take care out there. I found a VHS in the desert, and I don't know what to do. All this started 2 days ago. It was a pretty humid afternoon, so I took advantage of it to go for a walk. I live in southern Utah, and usually in June, it's too hot to go outside. But this time it was bearable. When I was far away from my house and towards some desert areas, I found a VHS on the ground. Strange. I thought no one has used one of these for years. One thing that made it even stranger was what was written on the pale pink label. At first I thought they were Chinese characters, but the more I looked, the more there were things wrong with these strange letters. One of the questions that came to mind spontaneously was who had put it here. I remembered that my father had given me his VHS player, so I took the VHS and went back home. As I walked home, I had 1,000 questions in my head. Who was it? What language is this? Why abandon it like this in the desert? As soon as I got home, I plugged the VHS player into the television, and then put the VHS in. The only thing I saw was static. As I was about to remove the VHS, a strange music started. It seemed like one of those stereotypical Australian melodies. The first thing I saw was a blue background and various white lines. Then a title appeared. It was in English. It said, Biology of a Human Being. I understood that it was an old educational video, perhaps smuggled from somewhere. I continued to watch. Humans are one of the most complex species on planet Earth. Strange, but true. Now we will observe various characteristics of a human being. Number 1. Humans shed their skin almost every day. What? I don't think that's true. Number 2. Humans can show quills to scare predators. After the sentence, an image that showed 2 3D models, one of a naked man with quills on his back scaring a large dog. What the fuck am I watching? I thought, who the fuck created this VHS? What's the point of this? Maybe they translated the language this VHS was created in, but it wouldn't explain the 3D image. Immediately, after a screen appeared with the words, Objects frequently used by humans. The screen showed a cigarette, a car, a phone, and a house. Then it showed various videos of people driving, talking, and using their phones. The more I looked, the more bizarre it became. What was the purpose of this VHS? And above all, who created it? After this, it ended. I started to think about what I should do. Call the police? But no crime had been committed. Maybe stalking? Honestly, I was confused. But as I was about to remove the VHS, my girlfriend called me. I answered. Mike, have you seen the news? No, why? UFOs have been spotted near your house. I hope you're joking. Watch the news. She hung up, and I looked at the news. The first article I saw was Group of Lights Spotted Near Iron County. At first I didn't care much about it, but then I realized, what if this VHS is of alien origin? No, it can't be, because aliens would create a video and then put it on a VHS. It doesn't make sense. However, the characters on the VHS are not recognizable. Well, they could be in another language, but which one? Now I'm more confused than before. Who should I call? The police, an astrologer, or a UFOologist? Tell me, what should I do? I found a VHS in the desert. I don't know what to do. Part 2. After coming to that realization, I started researching UFO sightings in North America. The lights is one of the most common in these areas. Honestly, the more I thought about the idea of aliens creating a VHS, the more I felt like a complete idiot. But that VHS seemed too inhuman, if you know what I mean. I watched it 3 more times. The more I watched it, the more it was... I kept telling myself that this was just a stupid coincidence, and that this VHS was just an art project. That night, I didn't sleep well. The only thing I could think about was the VHS. Around midnight, I heard something landing, as if a plane had landed nearby. There are no airports in the area. At one point, I heard the main entrance door open. I opened the door to my room and saw two huge four-legged beasts. At first, I thought they were bears, but they had no hair. One of them stood up on 2 feet. I managed to see his face. He had no eyes and was completely armored. As soon as one of them saw me, he growled. The growl was similar to a car engine. I locked myself in the room and started dialing 911, when I saw a beam of light from below the door, and then a huge thud. I left the room and called 911. As soon as the police arrived, I explained that 2 bears had entered my house. The policeman replied, "You should call the forestry police for these things, son." Rude. The police were not helpful. The next day, I realized something. The VHS was gone. This confirms all my fears. This VHS was not of human origin. At that point, I did not know what to do. Should I get to the bottom of it, or ignore everything? But I had to do something. Maybe they were planning to enslave the Earth, and then conquer it. What if they just wanted to study the Earth, but from the behavior of those things, they didn't seem very peaceful? Even if I don't think it was one of those things that took the VHS, it didn't seem intelligent enough to be able to do it. And if there was something else, the more I thought about it, the more my head hurt. I had to do something. But what? They were extraterrestrial creatures, and I was a little human. I had to do more research if I wanted to know what was going on. I spent almost 3 hours watching videos of aliens and UFOs that led to nothing. My phone rang. It was my girlfriend. "Babe, where are you?" "Sorry, I was busy." "You want to go out tonight?" "Yes, why not?" I wanted to distract myself from everything that was happening. I just wanted some inner peace. That evening was quite calm. I had fun, but I only had one thing on my mind. That damn VHS. When I got home, I lay down on the bed thinking about everything that had happened if only I had never picked up that VHS tape from the floor. But it was too late to go back. Time is Slowing Down by Neopti, Part 1. Time is slowing down. Yes, it is ever since it happened. Okay, let's catch up the story here. 23 days ago on 3 p.m., I was leaving work. I was a school teacher. When class ended, Harry asked me something. To give you a brief overview of who Harry was, he was strange. Not like the quiet kid strange or a nerd type strange. He seemed ill. He has a lot of friends, even connections with the popular kids. When he's around them, he acts perfectly normal. But when he's in class in the back seat, he murmurs something. It's been 2 weeks since I was hired as a teacher at the time, and I slowly picked up what he was saying. It was about the earth slowing and the wind becoming weaker. And people will never die, but won't realize it. I was perplexed. I called his parents, and they acted like nothing was wrong. The mother said in her scratchy voice, somewhat hard to hear over the phone,
"Oh, it's just a script. He's reciting for a play."
But there were no school plays happening. Hell, there was not even a play audition in the whole town. Something was wrong, and I had to find out. I may get arrested. Anyways, it wasn't what he said that scared me. It was his face when he was speaking these things to me. His eyes were green, not the pupil, the white part of the eye. But when I looked, there it was white, as if I was on drugs or a beer. He told me, "Time shall stop. The earth will be as still as a dot." Then ran extremely fast. Not even the most fast kids in our sports club ran that fast. He was carrying a bag too, and he didn't even use a locker. I shook it off as a hallucination, and went into my car and drove off. I was going to drink some apple juice. Don't judge me. And it felt viciously slow. It felt more like watery honey than a juice. I spit it out, but it was still runny as normal. What the hell? I decided to open another box, and same story. This was odd. But since I was not poisoned, still drank anyway. Because I'm like a pig when it comes to eating. I eat anything that tastes good. I even tried scorpion one time, so I'm the farthest thing from picky. I was going to sleep on my bed, but you know how a bed kinda sinks you in due to the weight being lighter than your body? That felt slower. It felt like a crappy hotel bed, and not the bed you sleep in every night. Crap, I need to replace this mattress. I said to myself before dozing off. The dream I had was very clock-centric. Unless I was clocks ticking, and I saw a shadow. Don't call me crazy, but that shadow looked exactly like Harry. This was beginning to disturb me a lot. When I was teaching and Harry would put his hand up, I began to only pick him when nobody else's hand was up because he disturbed me a lot. When I was going to speak to answer a student's question, I sounded slurred, but everyone acted like I was speaking normally. To bring you up to what that means, I would normally sound like, "Hi, my name is Quinn." That's my real name. And now when I speak, it's, "Hi, my name is Quinn." This only happened when Harry was in the room. I knew something was up with him. But what was I going to say to the school board? Harry is hypnotizing me? They would probably fire me and send me to an asylum before I could blink. 3 days pass after all of this, and it's beginning to get even worse. All fluids I drink flow like honey. My bed is as stiff as a rock, and it takes half a second to blink. When I feel my hair, it feels like waxed carpet, and not actual hair. I can feel my senses slow, my reaction time slow. And even worse, it's beginning to affect my perception of time. Everything is so slow. One sentence used to feel like 5 seconds. Now it's like 8. People's facial features are starting to get larger to the point of a cartoon. I can feel my life drown in the pit of time. The first 2 stories, I found a VHS in the desert and I don't know what to do. Part 1 and Part 2 are by Agreeable Ad 7232. So we're going to start reviewing this one first. So I personally, I've always enjoyed the idea of aliens and UFOs and bizarro, supernatural, paranormal, all that kind of stuff. I always find it really fascinating. I love those kind of topics. I like to remain somewhat skeptical because, yet again, you can't just immediately believe everything you see. You have to, do a bit of research and shit like that before you really kind of just, oh my god, aliens. And I appreciate the fact the story, it's like, I feel like they're kind of the same. They don't fully immediately just assume everything is alien, although granted, the VHS is a fucking weird one. It's also really random to think that aliens would have the same kinds of technology that we would have. But I suppose it's not impossible, right? Especially if, they have been coming to Earth quite a number of times. They've probably taken some of our things to be able to research them as well. I feel like we would do the same if we went to another planet and we found alien life and they had technology. We would probably also reverse engineer it and figure shit out. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for me. It's fun. I like kind of the confusion of this story. It does feel a little bit all over the kind of place. It feels like there's a lot of ideas that weren't fully solidified, sadly, and yet again, a lot of bizarre rants kind of here and there and quickly jumping from point to point. Armored bears, but also they're not bears, and were they armored? And the casual random girlfriend sequence, which is maybe like 3 sentences long. It is a bunch of ideas just kind of jumbled together and hoping to make it work. So my recommendation is obviously, yet again, grammar, spelling, things like that. The casual things that people should always be happy to work on. Yet again, I don't expect 100% grammar or 100% spelling or anything. I'm definitely not the best at those kind of things either. Don't get me wrong. But it does make things easier to read. Another important thing is to also, don't be afraid to, if you need to stretch things out, add more detail, fluff, whatever, build up moments or breakaway moments or whatever. Don't be afraid to throw in more detail, stretch things out. If you need to take one sentence and turn it into more like 5 or 6, do that. It's okay to stretch a story. To squeeze everything in such a short little thing, it doesn't always work. It kind of just, it does kind of shorten the experience, and it doesn't always make it quite hit the right way. But overall, I think it's pretty good, and I'm really curious as to see where this story could potentially go in the future, if there is going to be more of it. If not, then I'm excited to see what other kind of work she might do. Thank you, Agreeable Ad, for sharing. The next story we're going to review in this collection is Time is Slowing Down by Neopti, Part 1, which is by East Concentrate 817 on Reddit, but also by Neopti, by another name, on YouTube and things like that. So this is yet another really. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. I am also yet again similar kind of critiques as what I just was saying before. Grammar, spelling. Don't be afraid to kind of slow and stretch down, because yet again this feels like it's it is tangents. It is bounce, 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 bounce. It feels like these thoughts are all over the place. It's not quite a coherent, linear story or thought process. It does bounce around a lot, and I like what you're trying to build here. The weirdness of the eyes, for example, and the fact that Harry is a very strange kid. I feel like we need more detail. We need more understanding of what's going on, because otherwise it's just like, oh yes, it's a mystery. That's it. Which is okay in some regards, but yet again, the fact that this is a part 1 story tells me there will hopefully be more. Don't be afraid to stretch things out. Do not be afraid to stretch things out, add more detail. You can slow the pacing down. You could do a variety of things to make it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. But I'm curious. I'm very curious. I like the idea that in this case, the mystery is the fact that the Earth is slowing down. That's that's not really something that you always see in a lot of stories. So I'm kind of curious to see where you're going to take this idea. I'm definitely fascinated for sure. So really excited to see where you're going to go with this, Neopty. Thank you very much for sharing this story with us. I'm very excited to see how the rest of this will go. This has been Volume 1 of the Nate at Night Network Collection. I'll probably just call it Network Collection for short. I think that works out pretty well. The intention with this series that I'm going to do is every once in a while, I will literally pick some of the Reddit stories from our specific Reddit community, the Nate at Night Network, which you're more than welcome to be a member. Anybody is open. We are always taking more people, whether it be for making stories or discussions or theory crafting or whatever you want to do. It's a fun little time. And literally, I'm gonna take some, because yet again, not every Reddit story and not every story period is very long. In which case, they'll most likely end up going in this collection. So that way I can cover quite a couple of them at a time to make the videos a little bit longer while also still covering these shorter stories. This all kind of works out, I think, beneficially. I think everybody will be happy with this result. I think it's a good idea. But, only time will tell. Only time will tell. So yet again, this collection will specifically be stories from the Nate at Night Network subreddit. Might that change in the future? Depends. It depends on how things evolve over time, I suppose. But yes, so this collection, Volume 1, we've started with the Agreeable Ad stories and also East Concentrate 817. I'm excited to see what future stories we might get. And yet again, don't be afraid to go above and beyond. You can do, it doesn't have to be scary stories. It could be any kind of creative thing that you have in mind. Maybe you want to also have drawings or pictures or videos or links or whatever. I'm all for it. I'm excited to see what your creativity can come up with and the things that you can do. If you need to multi-part it, no problem. Excited. I'm excited. I know my stuff. I'm doing multi-part things at the moment anyway because I have a lot of ideas and executing them is going to require more time and effort and potential reaching out to people. There's nothing wrong with taking time if you feel like that's what is necessary. You know what I mean? WeirdBirds is a fantastic example. Part 3, taking quite a while to make, but I'll tell you what, it's still happening. I literally have talked to Arkazukas literally recently. I've seen potential imagery that's going to go in the video. Even a thumbnail. It's looking pretty good. Not even going to lie. Don't be afraid to take time. Don't be afraid to take time. Nothing wrong with that. That's the best part about being creative. Take your time. I have been Nate at Night. I've really enjoyed covering these stories, and I sure hope you've enjoyed listening. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. We will see you next time. Take care out there. A man watched me outside my hotel room. I think he was trying to get in. I was traveling alone for a work conference and booked a comfort inn near the convention center. Nothing fancy, just clean, cheap, and close. The lobby smelled faintly like old coffee and lemon-scented floor cleaner. The guy at the front desk barely looked up when I checked in. Just slid the key card across the counter and muttered, "Room 309, the elevator's to the left." The elevator ride-up was uneventful. No one else got in with me. When the door slid open on the 3rd floor, I immediately noticed how quiet it was. Too quiet. No distant TVs. No doors slamming. No muffled conversations. Just a long hallway, with patterned carpet and yellowish lights buzzing faintly. My room was at the far end, 309, past all the other identical doors. As I rolled my suitcase down the hall, I noticed something. At the very end of the hallway, standing near the stairwell door, there was a man. He was facing me. Not moving, not doing anything. Just standing there, watching. I slowed for a second, confused. Maybe he was waiting for someone. Maybe he was a guest locked out. I kept walking. Tried not to stare. As it got closer to my door, I glanced back. The man turned without a sound and slipped through the stairwell door. Gone. I shook it off, told myself it was nothing. Maybe he did not want to make it awkward. Maybe he was embarrassed. Inside the room, everything felt a little too still. The air smelled faintly of old detergent, like the carpets had been cleaned but not aired out. I noticed the desk chair was turned to face the window, not where housekeeping usually leaves it. A small detail, but it stuck with me. I turned on the TV for background noise, tossed my bag onto the bed, and settled in. The evening passed without anything else. I ordered delivery and ate on the bed, flipping through cable channels. Every now and then, I thought I heard faint footsteps in the hallway. Very soft. Not constant. Always stopping when I muted the TV to listen. Around 1:50 a.m., the room phone rang. The sharp, old-fashioned ring cut through the quiet like a knife. I sat up, startled. I answered. Hello? Static. A faint crackling sound. Hello? I said again louder. There was breathing on the other end. Not a voice, just steady, audible breathing. Then a click. Deadline. I hung up, staring at the phone. It could have been a prank. A crossed wire. Old phone system. Hotels are not exactly known for perfect maintenance. I laid back down, facing the door. Maybe 20 minutes later, there was a knock. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Measured, not frantic, not playful. I sat up and listened. Another knock. Another knock. I got up slowly, walked to the door, and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no elevator ding, no stairwell door swinging shut. I stood there longer than I should have, holding my breath, waiting. Nothing. I backed away and grabbed my cell, called the front desk.
Covered in. Front desk.
The same man answered. Someone knocked on my door, I said quietly. And someone called my room?
Room number?
309. A pause.
Sir, external calls cannot be connected to guest rooms.
He said.
Only internal.
Another pause.
Stay inside your room. I'll send security up.
About 5 minutes later, I heard the elevator ding faintly, then slow, heavy footsteps coming down the hall. There was a knock, normal this time. Hotel security, sir. I looked through the peephole. One staff member, middle-aged guy, black polo with the hotel logo, radio on his hip. I opened the door with the chain still latched. He asked if I wanted him to walk the hallway and check the floor. I said yes. He disappeared down the hallway, moving slowly, checking doors, looking into the stairwell. He even checked the emergency exit at the far end. When he came back, he shook his head. No one out here now. Could be someone messing around, he said. Happens sometimes, late at night. You should keep your deadbolt locked, he added. I have, I said. He gave a short nod and walked back toward the elevator. I watched until the doors closed. I locked everything again and sat back down on the bed. I left the TV muted. I wanted to hear everything. Around 3 a.m., I heard it again. The door handle moving. Slow at first, then a little firmer, like someone trying to see if it was unlocked. I got up carefully and looked through the peephole. It was covered, like something was pressed against it from the other side. I backed away immediately, heart pounding. I grabbed the nearest chair, jammed it under the door handle, and sprinted to the room phone. I called the front desk. Someone's at my door, I hissed, trying to get in.
Stay inside. We're sending security up right now,
the man said. Less than 2 minutes later, I heard footsteps. A knock. Hotel security, sir. I checked the peephole carefully. The cover was gone. The same staff member was outside. I opened the door with the chain still on. There was no one here when I got up, he said. No one in the hallway. I demanded they check the cameras. He agreed and called the front desk on his radio. After a short wait, he came back. The feed is down, he said. Wiring issue. Cameras on this floor have been glitching. They're supposed to fix it tomorrow. I stared at him, not knowing what to say. I relocked everything, reinforced the chair, and sat on the bed, wide awake. An hour passed. Around 4 a.m., I realized I was not going to sleep. I decided to go downstairs to the lobby. Maybe just sit there until sunrise. I grabbed my room key, unlocked the door, and stepped into the hallway. It was completely silent. Still. I started walking toward the elevators. About halfway there, I glanced down the opposite end of the hall. The man was there, head to toe in black, standing perfectly still, watching me. I froze. He took one step forward, then another. Then he broke into a full sprint straight toward me, and I ran. And that was A Man Watched Me Outside My Hotel Room. I think he was trying to get in, by Safe Scare Official. So what I like about this is it immediately makes me think of a lot of really cool horror scenarios, which tend to involve a hotel room, a motel room, or even just the building in general, right? Some kind of an accommodation, which that's a surprisingly, it's a very common kind of a setting, really, which I think works really well, because it's one of the places where you're meant to feel like you're at least somewhat safe, right? And so it subverts that idea, and I think that's really fun. And the best part is that it's not always the same where it's like, oh, it's just a killer on the loose, something. You never know exactly what you're going to be dealing with. And I'll get into some of the examples I'm talking about. So I like this story quite a lot because, yet again, you don't fully know what the deal is. I mean, I feel like clearly the hotel itself is a bit weird. Like maybe the people who work there are the problem, would be my guess. But so it seems to be, at least to my understanding, and I could have misread this, in which case please do correct me. I believe it's the security guy who is the problem, right? But I wouldn't quite say it's fully confirmed by the context, because when he mentions the man, I could be talking about the first guy he thought he saw ages ago, which more likely is what the scenario is. But then, like, how has he been getting away with all kinds of stuff? It definitely feels like he's in far more control of the situation, which is obviously what's going on. And clearly the hotel just are too slow in the uptake to keep up with what's going on. Or maybe they have like a weird arrangement going on or something. I don't fucking know. It makes me think of quite a number of things, and that's what I'm really excited to talk about as well. I would say things that this made me think about would, probably be the countless number of movies that take place in hotels. The Shining is one of the most popular ones because that technically is in the Overlook Hotel. And, it's not exactly the same kind of a scenario. It's more of a psychological horror, is The Shining. I'm sure tons of you know that by now. But still. I think a better one would probably be, if you really want to go back in time, Psycho from, I think, 1960s, if I remember right. I think it's the 1960s, where you have it's the Bates Motel. And that's quite good, where, yet again, you kind of go in, everything seems all somewhat pleasant and nice, and no, it's not. If you stay at the motel, you're probably going to become a victim, most likely, which is great. It's always very fun. It also made me think of the movie Vacancy, which I think is from the 2000s, which is, yet again, a scenario where people check into a hotel, things aren't as they seem, they're going to become a victim of some kind of a horrific thing going on. So these are all similar in those kind of ways, the fact that whenever you stay at these places, something bad happens, but they usually have a different, whether it be, say, the owner, or the owner's mother, or the hotel itself makes people go mad, or I suppose even Room 1408 you could kind of even mention, is another fantastic example of horror inside of a hotel room, but in a different kind of way. It also reminds me of one of the Fears to Fathom episodes I've streamed ages ago. Episode number 2. I'll pop a little link up here, I'm sure, if you want to see an hour-long gameplay of me having horrifying times in a hotel room, in a video game, of course. When it comes to actual like real-world stuff, this is interesting because I've been in quite a number of hotels and motels and stuff like that, and especially in England, the fact that like there's tons of them that have, scary histories or haunted histories, or they claim to be haunted and everything like that. And it's not that I don't believe any of it. I'm always super open to the idea of anything supernatural or paranormal or anything like that. But the problem is, because I personally haven't had any convincing enough experiences, I obviously take it with a grain of salt, you know? Like, I'd love to have an experience happen, but I've never had anything in any of these places that I've been to that have maybe been like, yeah, this has to be a ghost. You know, I've heard, I've heard noises, I've heard, you know, things, but I wouldn't say I've heard anything that was too out of the norm, you know, especially with the older buildings. I mean, older buildings make all kinds of noises and stuff like that, so a lot of it can be explained away by that, or, you know, a variety of other issues and stuff like that. So I'd love to have some kind of a spooky experience, but I personally have never had it. So yeah, nor have I ever been in a place where, you know, people have died while I was there. That'd be horrifying. That's a scary thought, right, in and of itself. Not to say that hotels couldn't be. I mean, they have all kinds of problems like that. I mean, one of the most infamous ones is the H. Holmes Hotel. Well, the murder hotel, right, where he, you know, the place was basically an elaborate big old trap puzzle bizarro-ness, and the point was, you know, every room had a way to kill you and stuff like that. Fucking wild, you know, and he was a serial killer because of it. Just, you never know, you know. I mean, granted, I get the feeling these days you're gonna be all right, you know. It's clearly far more regulated and way less dangerous, and obviously, you know, a lot of things are fictional. The H. Holmes thing is real, but, you know, that was, yet again, a long fucking time ago. I think it was 1800s, if I remember correctly. I mean, it might have been like late 1800s, but still, I think it was. I gotta check it now, because I don't remember, but yeah, a long time ago, if I remember right. Yeah, between 1891 and 1894. Yeah, okay, there you go. So yeah, I really enjoyed the story simply because it made me think of all those kind of just awesome things, really, and I think it's great. And the problem is that there's also tons more. There's tons more references we can go through, but yet again, we don't want to, you know, have a fucking hour-long review, right? Save that for maybe review official videos, you know, stuff like that. Anyway, this has been A Man Watched Me Outside My Hotel Room. I think he was trying to get in, by Safe Scare Official. Which, first of all, thank you, Safe Scare Official. There'll also be a link for the Reddit post, in case you want to read it yourselves. But I'm also going to mention their subreddit, which is r/safescare, where they also put up more stories just like this. I suggest giving it a little check out. I know I sure will. I think I've joined it, actually. I have joined it. So I know I'm going to check out some more of these stories. Thank you all so much for watching. We really hope you've enjoyed. I've had a fantastic time, and I sure hope you have too. I've been Nate at Night, and I will see you for whatever's next. Take care out there. You folks won't believe this. I'm boondocking in my van, alone in Yellowstone, and I just saw 2 thylacines. It's crazy foggy right now, so the pics are cruddy, but good lord, this is the discovery of a lifetime. I captured this near the Norris Geyser Basin off Grand Loop Road. I don't got a single idea as for why 2 of these presumed extinct animals are wandering in Wyoming, but it's the last thing I expected to see. This fellow was limping around from a gnarly shoulder injury, and the others seemed to be fine. They weren't mean or nothing, just curious. Come to think of it, revealing the location might have been bad for their health, and they're extremely sought after. I gotta figure out how to catch them safely. Whoa, my name is Gene, by the way. I love nature, and am an avid outdoorsman. I'll continue to update this thread. Don't worry. I think for now it's time to hit the hay. I probably won't sleep too good, though, after seeing 2 Tasmanian tigers. Gosh, I wish I could stay out here and not have to go back to New York. I'd like to quit my banking job. It's been tough handling stress, but I'm living now. Okay, it's been a full day of numerous odd events. So first of all, one of the tigers was killed by something that I've literally never seen before in my life. It looks like a dinosaur bird, and it killed and ate the limping thylacine. Well, I don't know where the other one is. This has me heartbroken and confused, which led me to try and connect with the local rangers, but I didn't get anything. Also, the thylacine was making some terrible noises while the dinosaur was tearing it apart. Well, absolutely horrific stuff. I'm very worried for the other thylacine. Furthermore, something deeper in the woods ate what appeared to me as a wolf. This thing was even stranger still. And to me, something supernatural is occurring. There's just no other explanation. I'm getting to the bottom of this if it costs my life. Be in the car right now, and I heard some unique yips outside. Turns out the remaining thylacine is alive and staying near my car for some reason. Anytime I make a sudden sound, like opening my door, she bolts. I was able to capture her on camera. Oh, she's a stunner, isn't she? I pray that she's gonna be alright out there, and hold on now. Someone or something just pounced on my car. It's trying to tear my car to shreds. Shit, this is bad. Whatever it is, it clearly knows I'm in here. It just confirmed that it's not a person. I think I'll be okay, crew. It's not making any progress. I need to see what it looks like, though. I'll try and snap its mug, just gotta pull back the sunroof blind. Jesus, Joseph and Mary! Look at this bitch! It's a huge bastard. Mean, too. I'm certain that this is the same animal that took down one of the tigers earlier. Unfortunately for it, my car's tough as nails. We ain't going nowhere. Now it's giving me shifty eyes and rubbing something metal against my car? I'm gonna get to the front and drive the hell out of here. The car's stuck. The front wheels aren't moving at all. That dinosaur isn't dumb as you've all told me. It's used tools, like a goddamn crow, and jammed the wheels with something. My windows are bulletproof though, so everything should be okay. He's still hitting my car though. He's dead. He was to the left of my car, and something suddenly just slammed him into my car. I could hear bones snapping through skin outside my door. Then a body being dragged away as well, as many footprints going away. Something else is out there, and it's a duo. Listen to him. Roll down the window just a hair for a better view, and I sure got one. It's a pair of bear-sized canines, and they're eating that dinosaur. I've seen it all now. Window back up. They don't give a rat's ass about me, thankfully. Time to just thank God and lay low. This morning, I figured out what that animal stuck between my wheels. Some sort of a bad news, good news kind of thing. Gene's got a crowbar now. Lean, mean Gene, the whacking machine. Also, took some moments throughout the day to appreciate the landscapes and animals around here. Not a bunch of weird stuff happening during the day. As soon as the sun started to go down, things got a bit fucky. My mind was completely blown when I saw this flying around high above me. He was massive. I genuinely don't have the words to describe this. This is nuts. There are literally dragons and dinosaurs and thylacines here. He was making lots of noise too. Well, if I am again, I'll show you. Crew, we're experiencing the supernatural together. Hey, wait a damn minute. I didn't even notice there's other people here. Oh lord, they might be in danger. Well, nothing I can do about that now. Hopefully they make it out of this madness. Are they even aware? I woke up to the same call that the dragon hawk thing from earlier was making. It's pants-shittingly scary, but also beautiful at the same time. Man, is it loud. Also, the stars tonight are impeccable. Maybe I can capture it in the sky through the roof. It's definitely up there. There he is. Dark pick, but he's circling right up there in the pick. He's since moved on, but I can still hear him clear as day. Scanning my surroundings with my binoculars, and there's some really strange structure in the middle of the woods made out of glass, and it's emitting some crazy light. Well, I don't know why, but my camera only picks the light up as green, but it's multicolor. It's not easily described. Another image taken through my binoculars. This time it's appearing as red on camera. There's slight hints of purple as well. Hang on, are these the supernatural wormholes that are bringing these animals into Yellowstone? What the fuck's this structure anyway? There's people in there. I've stayed in my vehicle and didn't turn on the lights or anything. I have, however, yet again, moved to another location. Weirdly, I didn't see that glass dome structure thing. Disappearing buildings isn't the most odd thing I've seen. Also, that dragon hawk thing moved away. Gene here. I'm fine, but it's still night. I'm so on edge. Just a twig snapping is enough to get my heart going. First thing tomorrow, I'm gonna try to hightail it out of here. A bit of a random nugget to mention, but my name is pronounced Gene, like the pants. It's not the correct way to say my name, but it's been this way for years. So lean, mean, Gene does rhyme. I don't know why I even mentioned it. I should try sleeping now. My van should protect me from those, whatever they are. I'll keep you updated. Start of a new day, heading out to grab some mushrooms and nuts. Unfortunately, I ate through all my chow. It shouldn't be too bad. Worst comes to worst, I'll just catch some animals. Finding a lot to snack on, but can't shake that feeling deep inside that there's eyes on me. It's peaceful for now, but my senses are tingling. I have no real idea how any of these animals behave. If you're out here, be careful. We're all dealing with something very special. This new life. Although it is a bit disturbing, it's just, wow, such a breath of fresh air in a weird way. So many species seemingly back from the dead. Like these, what appear to be extinct pink-headed ducks from India. Yeah, stinking rad, right? It's the ultimate second chance. About that, they were at a small river filling up some water to boil later. Oh, and about being watched. Yeah, my suspicions were right. Look who it is again. She doesn't seem to be afraid, which is odd, considering we slaughtered all of her kind. At least, I think we did. She's following me somewhat closely, like a lost dog. There's been some more interesting lights around. I presume those are wormholes. As bananas as that sounds, it's the only way to explain the insane shit I've been seeing recently. Haven't gotten any closer to figuring it out. There's still people flying around? Did they not catch the memo that there's a giant in the skies? I debated shouting at them, but that'd be useless. It might draw the attention of that flying animal. Oh, shit! He's in the air tailing that Cessna. I think the plane is gonna get away. It's gotta be flying pretty fast. Although the Dragon Bird is flying much higher up than the Cessna. Well, I don't know what it's planning. Oh, wait. No way! He's dive bombing the Cessna. Oh, he's gotta be reaching some pretty insane diving speeds to actually be keeping up somewhat with the plane. It's like I'm looking at a falcon pursuing another bird. They're getting pretty far now. It's getting harder to see them. They're gone. Been gone for almost a half hour. I think it's safe to continue foraging. I wonder how the person flying that plane... Wait, there's roaring noises in the patch of forest I was just at. It's coming from something low to the ground, but it sounds like a huge panther. But it's gotta be so short. I'm totally confused and a bit nervous. I'll record the noise. It sounds so fierce, but I've determined that it's coming from one of the small bushes in this area. I'm a bit less afraid. Well, I found our little loudmouth. They're just a little over a foot long. This odd lizard is the one with the big voice. I suspect the long skull is for resonating its noises. I don't know why they're roaring, but it's pretty hilarious how intense it sounds. Oh, I'm bleeding right now. Some black bird swooped down and stabbed the back of my neck. I'll try to get a photo of this tricky bastard. Here it is. It's been repeatedly flying at my face. Not a nest in sight. I don't know what their issue is. Fucking annoying. That being said, they're quite pretty. I did have to shove it to the ground. It's since stopped harassing me. LOL, I told you. Don't mess with Gene. Well, it attacked me again, and I pushed it again. But I must have pushed it too hard since it can't fly too well anymore and is making shrill cries. I feel pretty bad about pushing it. You people say that there's more of these though, so at least this isn't an endling. Jesus! That tiger just shot out from nowhere and had a little chase with the bird. Unfortunately, she killed it. She's not eating it though. What in the world is this all about? She's just sort of dragging it around and trashing it. Wait, did she kill it to protect me? No, surely not. No wild animal would do that. This isn't no Disney movie. She's left the body behind and is back to being my stalker. I don't understand her angle. Why would she do that? Yes, I'm taking the body. I'll try to cook the good parts later. I don't want them to go to waste. Who's this Mikey y'all yap about? Back at the river now. Check this out. A small baby bird creature. It doesn't show any fear towards me. It's just about the cutest damn thing that ever was. Okay, I'll leave it alone now. A larger pterodactyl just appeared. I think this is Mom or Dad. By the way, it's just astonishing to see such wonders in the flesh. Makes me realize they're normal animals, no different than the critters of modern day. The small one flew into a tree, and the larger one is waiting at the water. He's got his eye on me for sure. With teeth like that, I best abide by his wishes. He looks like some sort of fish eater. Good place to be one. There's a lot of fish here. I'm never, ever going back to New York. This changes damn near everything for me. Oh, wow! Fellas, take a gander at this one right here. Looks like they got little bug lures on them. Who would have guessed? Ah! Look at this! Tried to get a closer look at the blue bits and he took off! Absolutely out of this world. Oh, and what are these? They're about as big as dogs. They don't seem aware I even exist, but man, they're beautiful. They have the patterns of a painted dog and the wings of a hawk. They approached a bit too close for comfort, so I yelled at them, and they backed away. I'm pretty sure they're after the ducks I saw earlier. Hopefully the thylacine doesn't try anything stupid on these fellers. They're much larger than the black bird. Still not as big as the brown one, though. Oh my god, the Cessna is back! With the flying dinosaur! They're still at it! He's relentless. I don't think he'll get the plane, though. He's getting pretty close to it, though. He got them. The plane crashed somewhere to the west. I'm gonna find the wreckage and see if anyone survived. Wish me luck. I'm still alive. I'm having a difficult time finding the wreck. I feel a bit stupid for using so much energy and gas. It's getting sorta late, too. I'll have to sleep at some point. The dragon is still around. I think it's trying to eliminate any and all perceived competition. It's landing somewhere close. I best be heading in the van. I've been thinking, throughout my life at home, is that what I wanted? It is certainly what my life was supposed to be according to my peers, whilst upholding values and norms the same way as them. Truth is, I never wanted any of it. I just took the path of least resistance. So yes, I was being serious. I don't want to leave. I've never felt my heart beating like I did today. So go ahead and mock me for being an idiot. At least I'm living, unlike the rest of you. You all exist in reality TV. I exist in reality. Sorry for the harsh tone. I just don't feel the need to worry about judgment no more. He's out there now, shrieking. God, just the sound is enough to send my heart into my throat, let alone the visuals. I hope that Cessna pilot is alive. I didn't see any smoke, so I suspect they made a crash landing in water. First thing tomorrow, I'm switching to rescue mode. Good morning. I'm headed west again. It's bright, so it should be a lot safer out. I'll update you folks if anything interesting happens on my trek. Alright, well, right off the bat, we got something odd to look at. Check this out. It's some kind of black ball lightning. It's not moving or anything. What the actual hell is this? Is that a guy? He appears to be walking around on the air. Well, he's slow as molasses though, but something tells me he's gonna fly off the handle and do something terrible. I've got out of his sight right away and am keeping as quiet as I can. Well, he walked down the air. It's as if the guy was walking down an invisible hill or something. He's meandering somewhere over here, but I can't tell where on earth he went. I got startled for a moment since I heard some grass shake. It's nothing to get hysterical about though, just that thylacine again. She appears to be on high alert as well. Maybe she also saw that weirdo. He's far away, but I can see him, and I suspect he can see me. Weirdly, when he walks through the grass, the foliage just passes through him, like as if he wasn't even there at all. Looks like he's wearing armor and a helmet. It's sort of shaped like a banana. Crowbars in hand. Well, quite a few things happened. Good news! The pilot actually managed to live. He's a bit shaken up, but overall he's in good spirits. His name is Kyle, by the way. As for that black armored guy, he honest to God fell through the earth and vanished from my view.
Kyle here. I'm not a bad pilot, I swear. That monster just jumped me out of nowhere, but I was able to land in water. Gene has already discussed how he doesn't want to go back home for some reason, but I do. He's agreed to take me back to civilization, but first, we need to find food.
Gene again. I just told Kyle that I've already hauled in a lot of snacks from the great outdoors for us to eat, including that nutty bird from earlier that attacked me. I pretty much caught up with Kyle on everything, including the thylacine and the weird black armored guy. Kyle had a phone, but crashing into water, well, you do the math. He did, however, have a gun on hand. That beats the crowbar any day. He's a rookie with it though, so I'll take charge in that department. Oddly, the kid's got hollow point bullets, but those may prove to be helpful. Should I ever die, Kyle's a 5'11" 19-year-old with brown hair, pasty white skin, and blue eyes. If you see him alone in Yellowstone, you should pick him up, because it means I died. He's told me about how he and his partner went on a trip here, and all about how they're students and other stuff. I sort of stopped listening since, well, I'm a bit worried me driving all the way here might make that Tasmanian tiger lose her way. On my way here, I did in fact stumble across a few more little animals like this strange turtle that resembles the fly river turtle. It definitely isn't one though for many reasons. Pretty, isn't it? Another oddity was this. A tillandsia out here in the middle of Yellowstone. Doesn't make one lick of sense, but considering everything I've seen, it feels like nothing but an average Tuesday promenade. A couple other things I didn't recognize were these two beauts. Some species of bird I couldn't ID, with gorgeous tail and wing feathers. And a small viper of some kind with a stubby body and loose-looking skin. Stinking rad. It's getting unusually cold out right now. No clue as to why on earth that is, considering it's summertime. New day has started. We've pretty much chewed and drank through everything I had, given the extra mouth to feed. Not an issue, though. That place over where I was previously had some good stuff for foragers. Also, it turns out it's not just us foraging today. She follows still. She appears to have caught some sort of mink or marten, a mustelid. Anyways, apart from her, not much has changed. Haven't seen that black dude or the weird bird dragon neither. Hang on, Kyle just hollered to me that he wants me to take a look at something all kinds of odd. Well, it's definitely something odd, alright. It's a dinosaur head. The same species from earlier. I've seen birds of prey decapitate each other, so I'm willing to wager a bet that something similar happened here. Last night things got really windy and cold. Kyle and I are shivering and the plants are already beginning to turn. I'm not sure what's happening with the climate. The animals seem to be reacting to the changes as well. Here's some sounds from the night. There was also another noise we heard from something bellowing in the treetops. Never heard anything quite like it before. Tomorrow, I'll investigate alone since my compadre isn't keen on being outdoors for a long time. I'm trying to convince him he's missing out on cool stuff. Well, after a long while, I managed to find it. Seems like a lot of this adventure is, I hear weird sound, I investigate, I find weird animal, repeat. Honestly, I'm loving it. Check this out. Giant gecko. He's massive. What's that one monitor lizard? Right, Komodo dragon sized. Oh, he's coming down. And he's down. He seems pretty keen to get closer to me, so I think I'd best be headed in the opposite direction now. I bet you he's slower than me, so I'll be fine. Maybe it's best Kyle didn't show up, even though this animal is outstanding. He's lost interest. Lucky for me, I suppose. I know if it's anything like monitor lizards, it was gonna try eating me. Still, an incredible animal, though. I don't understand the fuss, anyway. People should be thanking the Lord for adding some damn flavor to the world. My head suddenly hurts something nasty. I think it's those wormholes again. I can see some big flashing lights nearby. That ball lightning type stuff again. Those things make my head spin. Literally. Hang on. Something's materializing out of it. I don't know if this is even real. Do y'all see anything here even? My head is still on a fritz, but I swear something is right there. Oh, I feel like I might hurl. And it's difficult to really see all too much now, especially far objects. Well, it went completely invisible. Yes, invisible. And then walked up to a tree and plucked a squirrel right off the branches. It was one hell of a gruesome kill. The poor thing got shredded to mincemeat by some kind of spiky tongue appendage. And yes, I did run away from it. Another curious thing was, it appeared to have wing-like flaps on its side, with glowing lemon-sized organs on each tip of the fingers? I wasn't sure what was going on with this guy's anatomy. Very fucking strange. Here's a little image of that before it completely vanished. It seems sort of slow and disoriented, flashing in and out of being visible. I'm not going back for another peek, though. I don't know what to expect from it. Oh, also, the weird bugger was leaching out some sort of clear, bluish liquid out of some sort of cut in one of the legs. Blue blood is seen in invertebrates. Cephalopods and horseshoe crabs are a couple examples I'm aware of. This must be a kind of backboneless animal. Oh man, sorry I haven't been active for a few days. Or weeks. Gee, I don't know. Each day melts into the next for us. Kyle and I had a bit of a small disagreement. Needless to say, the lad ended up killing an extinct animal for food. It was a beautiful creature, but he had to eat. It never really came to me before, but extinction is not only the loss of a species, but a point of view, a unique, never-to-be-repeated perspective. This world will never feel their weight, will never hear their sounds, ever again. Poor thing. Their feathers shine like jewels. I don't know, maybe it's all hokey. That's what he told me anyway. Oh shoot, do we know how many animals we've erased forever? And if they had souls in them with thoughts and feelings, what does that make us? Well, I don't know. I think for now I'll just stick to local fruit and nuts. We've established something of a little abode inside my van. Think of it like a bunker. And yeah, we weren't going crazy. It really is getting a heck of a lot cooler out here. The plants are beginning to turn. See? Some white-tailed deer came by. They seem to be more shook up than usual about something. We reckon it's that cloud-crashing dragon bird thing and the other unique fauna. Anyways, check out how close this girl came to me. Some more eye candy for you folks. Cal took this nice photo here. Boy, am I glad to have brought extra layers everywhere I go, because the cold is really beginning to seep its way in. I wonder why it's getting cold so suddenly. I suspect it's related to all the other weirdness running amok. Stumbled across something, a very nasty smell led me here. I have a bad feeling about what's inside this. Oh my god. Look. I'm not getting anything from 911. Kyle agreed to help me, I hate to say search the body, but that's what we're going to try to do here. I'm so confused as to what happened, and why this machine is here. There's a logo I swear I've seen before on the side of the deer. Look. Really, it is quite bewildering. Who was this guy? What was his deal? All the way out here. I wonder if maybe this is related to the building I saw a while ago with all the bizarro lights. Kyle found a bit of info. Apparently the guy's name was Chuck, and he works for Wayho. We still don't know what he's doing here, though. Your guess is as good as mine, folks. Also, when Kyle smashed the glass open, and we were greeted with the most hellish scent you could imagine, like, holy god, that almost made me hurl up lunch. And I'm beginning to think it wasn't worth it. The smell might attract a bear or one of the stranger animals. We're leaving this place and going back. I don't think it was worth it at all. Another poor soul we spotted on the way back. I think back to what I said about extinction. I recognize this one. There's someone from the Paleozoic era. Such a sad thing. A second death. Kyle did seem to feel a bit bad for killing the small shimmering bird-like animal from earlier. He apologized. His heart is in the right place, I'll tell you that. This experience has really opened my eyes to the plight of our animals. We're all equal in our capacity to suffer. On a lighter tune, to get our minds off that, take a gander at these photos I took at that thylacine. These weren't taken recent. Grabbed these a few weeks ago and forgot to post them. She was scent masking, I think, or just having a grand old time. I think I'll call her Belle. Come to think of it, I haven't been seeing her around in the past couple of days. I'm sure she's okay. She's a nimble little thing. Sneaky. I feel silly for not posting this earlier either, but I saw this fella around the same time I last saw Belle. I'm sure despite all the new dangers, this grizzly's holding their own just fine. Man, I love bears so darn much. I just hope his world isn't poisoned by the newcomers. Kyle likes Belle too, but he's a bit less fond of the bears. He tells me he actually was able to hand feed Belle a couple of days ago. Why he didn't tell me is beyond my understanding. I guess this confirms she's doing A-okay, and also confirms my suspicions. My suspicions being that she might be at least a little bit used to humans. Tamed would be the word, yeah. I have a feeling she was born in the careful palms of my fellow man, not as a pile of grass in the middle of nowhere. Just a crack theory, though. So on the way back, this interesting-looking animal comes crawling out of a small river. He doesn't appear to have any eyes or ears. Curious little critter. Well, maybe little isn't the right word. They're massive, about the size of a crocodile. They sort of sniffed around, then slithered their way in between the trees before slipping back underwater into the murk. They resemble some giant otter thing, or maybe a massive blind yapok. Certainly unique. Yeah, I'm in the car now. That picture is from a good handful of time ago. It's getting dark out. I think I'll see yous tomorrow. So, while Kyle was sleeping, that dragon bird came by. I'm certain it was him because of the noises, but he was running laps around the area and hollering. It was pants-shittingly freaky, but pretty awesome also. Oh, silly me. Here's recordings of that. As for tonight, well, I was out trying to observe the flying butte. Which, yeah, yell at me, why don't ya? I know it's dumb. But damn it, I want to learn more about him. Seems he runs on the ground exceptionally fast, especially for a giant flying animal. It is freaking-markable. Cal did point out to me that strange men were heading in our direction coming southwards. The same direction as the weird bunker thing and the bulldozer, I think. Today, I managed to record one of them while hiding in a bush. Here, have at it. Their voice modulation was loud and clear, and the fellers sounded oddly lazy.
The breach of these studies doing quite well. We're liking what we're seeing so far. I'm not sure if he's noticed, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll see you at Lone Star. Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, Lone Star Geyser. I know our masks make it hard to hear what we're saying. I wish we had better ones, but hey, I mean, it's what we got. Yeah, see ya.
Kyle here again. Gene's been a pretty valuable asset when it comes to staying alive, especially with those weird voice modded freaks out there and the fucking wyvern thing. Jamie, if you're somehow reading this, I hope you're doing well. You'd probably love it here, you weirdo. Jamie's my partner, by the way. They love nature too, sort of like Jean, but not as preachy about it. Again, if you're reading this, take care of my guinea pigs for me. I know you're hella great with the pets. Thanks for that. You won't believe the stories I have for you, man.
Jean's back in business. That was just very mushy. Congrats on your first relationship, Kyle. I hope it goes better than mine. Oh, right. I taught that tyke how to start his own fire out here. You might think it's as simple as rubbing a couple of twigs together, but no, there's quite the setup required in order for success to be had. At this rate, he won't be in my car no more. Ha! Oh, I almost forgot. Here's a second recording from a different man. Was recorded earlier in the morning, too. Who's he talking about? That plane faller?
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't had too much luck getting those. What do you call them again? Oh, yeah, Shenlongsaurus. Yeah, Shenlongsaurus. No, we haven't seen any of those. We've been hearing for sure because, like, he's super loud. So, pretty much anywhere you are out here, you can hear that guy yelling and shrieking. Yeah, he's already taken out some of the local fauna. He killed, oh shit, what was it? Was it 2 or 3? I think it was, he killed 3 bears. Yeah, he took out, yeah, grizzlies. 2 grizzly, 1 black bear. I think he was going after the bison too. You know, we'll get him eventually. Just, yes, if you see him up there, give him a call. Give me a call too. But we'll send everybody. Alright, yes. Alright, bye.
Shenlongsaurus, huh? Dragon lizard. A genus name has me wondering a lot of things. How do they describe these animals? What the hell sort of clades do these beasts fall into? Kill bears, kill bison, taking down planes? He's remarkable in every single way. My phone says it's 1 a.m., but it ain't dark out. Must have been a gremlin that messed my phone, huh? Holy Lord! About 20 meters away, these 2 animals are going at it! They're brutal! I'll try to get a video, but it might be better if I just got the hell out of here. I had to get up on out of there. Things got way too ugly for my ass to stick around for much longer. I gotta go tell Kyle what just happened, and that he might want to stay in the van. The green animal kept slinging their claw-like beak to try and grapple the dragon, but every time he missed, the dragon kept trying to intimidate. He has these bright dewlaps on the top and bottom sides of his head. Yeah, it was a sight to behold. The last thing I witnessed was the hawk dragon slashing at the other one's hide with his beak. Teeth and talons and the cries let out by both were beautifully terrible. I think the green animal was in the process of retreating as I ran away. I hope both are okay. Cal told me he saw the same animal, what I assumed to be that Shenlongsaurus, a bit earlier than I did. He airdropped me some photos he took of the animal further east. It seems like they're out of control. He's on a killing spree. Is this surplus killing or something else? There's no doubt in my mind, it's the exact same individual, and this land, all of it, he now controls. Every inch of the space is his home, and no neighbor appears to be tolerated, not even herbivores. This elk was quickly torn to ribbons after a short chase, according to Kyle.
Hey, it's Kyle again. We're back in the van, sure as shit not leaving it. I actually almost died out here twice. I wish I could just call my people right now. Everyone probably thinks I died from that crash. I mean, obviously I nearly died then, but it just happened again. Right after that wyvern or Shenlonosaurus or whatever it's called killed that deer, they started to, toss its body around. If that wasn't creepy enough, it turned to look at me. Then it started to approach me before a distant animal sound distracting it, letting me get away. Alright, we've sort of chilled out a bit more. Gene seems pretty intrigued. He keeps asking me all sorts of questions about the animal, nerdy stuff I couldn't possibly know. Oh, JJ, I wish you were here. I know I already said that, but man, you'd get a kick out of this. Right now we're talking about this, a giant bug wing I found. Gene's convinced this is something from hundreds of millions of years ago. I guess I'll just take his word for it. You'd understand what he's talking about.
Gene here. I just asked for his parents' numbers so he could drop a line or call them. Same with his partner. I don't know how long it'll be, but it's nice to feel like that stuff matters again. Even if it doesn't relate to me, that warmth he feels is contagious. Gosh, I miss love.
Well, my parents didn't answer, but Jamie did. Oh, this is Kyle, by the way. I'm pretty worried about my parents, but Jamie assures me that they're probably all right. I mean, my dad's a lawyer and my mom's a cop, so I'm sure they're handling themselves. Also, Jamie's gonna meet us here. I really tried to convince them not to come back here, but once they've decided they're doing something, good luck convincing them otherwise. If you're in the area and you spot a rusty car with a driver who's got short black hair and blue earrings, lead them to the Lone Star Geyser. Their roommate will be looking after the hogs, the guinea pigs, and their tarantula, by the way, so that's good too. Gene will help us all out of this mess. That dude could probably beat up a moose unscathed. He's what you'd call a unit. I tried convincing Gene to use his van to meet halfway, but he insists it isn't the right time yet, or something. In the meantime, we'll be alright. Gene's got my gun to take out any of those monsters should they try to hurt any of us. Jamie, good luck getting to us. I love you.
Gene again. Yeah, it's not the right time yet, because I need to make sure we have the thylacine safe and sound before we leave anywhere. And also, just for y'all's information, these creatures, as scary as they are, aren't monsters. Just a bunch of confused little souls like us. Alright, as an update, there wasn't a whole lot of new activity yesterday. We did end up hearing one new sound. I'm not sure if it was machine or animal, though. It was like clacking against trees and then a broken up call. Here it is. Had Kyle rightly scared. Personally, I found it pretty cool. More far noises from last night at a different time. These were probably the Shenlongsaurus and that thing y'all call a slingbeak. Those thundering wing beats and the loud clacking are the same sounds I heard when I watched the two fighting. But it seems they're still not settled. Something else to note. It started snowing briefly last night, it all melted away overnight and created a ton of fog. But still, I find it mighty strange that it came down at all. Something else that's mighty strange is, we saw that floating armored fella again watching us. See? The guy stood up there for about an hour, not doing anything. Then Kyle saw him turn around and walk/float off, vanishing into the darkness. Again, he made no sound. What do y'all think his deal is? Ha! None of you are any help. We think they're related to those other folks out here. The ones who are also wearing suits. They're chatterboxes, though, and aren't fucking floating around and walking through stuff, so maybe not all too similar. Just an idea, though. Last night, the fog made it a bear to see these clearly. It was more of those strange pulsating lights. They appeared again. Not sure why they're different colors in pictures than they are in person, but these remind me of high-altitude lightning. Stuff like red sprites. The lights, we believe, absolutely have everything to do with all the strange new fauna. Kyle and I believe they're like portals, ruptures in time. I mean, it's obvious. Look at these animals. They have to be from different time periods, prehistoric or otherwise. We'll be thinking about it for the rest of today. Honestly, it's been somewhat uneventful today, which is refreshing, I can't lie. Even me, a beast of a man, needs to rest. Gene here. Sorry for the gap. Cal and I have seen plenty of new and, in my opinion, amazing things. The weather is growing much cooler than it had before. We've seen some less cool things as well, though. That big brown bear I saw a bit ago has made their way closer to my car. As things get colder, I do get a bit high-strung, since bears eat more before winter. I don't know about these new animals, but I do know bears and the sheer terror they have brought onto my species for millennia. Additionally, we haven't been hearing from Jamie, Cal's partner. We have tried calling him several times daily, and haven't been getting anything in return. I myself worry for Belle. I haven't seen much of her either. I idiotically neglected to carry along some trusty bear mace, which may come in handy soon. You know that feeling, though? The feeling when, at the surface, all seems right, but you know that something is happening. Something very awful. Outside, things have gotten entirely desolate. That really homely sort of woods I longed for has been replaced by shades of brown and gray that I've grown far too familiar with back in the city. That being said, there's still something here to value and revere, even if it is eerie. The frequency of anomalous animals appearing has increased. Kyle captured these outstanding pictures here of a beast I cannot fathom, and where it came from. Can anyone enlighten me? You know, if you're familiar with this gigantic animal. This is where they came from. When I showed up to the area, the same body of water where Kyle crashed, I couldn't find that huge beauty, but I did encounter that really sizable possum-like animal, and nabbed a couple images of her surfacing. She looks blind, but she produced loud clicks. Echolocation. She seemed to make fast work of a few of the local fish. When her mouth opened, the sides of her lower jaw bowed out to the side. Because I doubt anyone has seen this animal before, I'll call them a bow-mouthed possum. So far, she's been harmless to us. Also, thanks for informing me of this Spinosaurus, the spine lizard I assume. A fitting name. I hope I see him in person, but as y'all say, from a good ways away. Man, I've seen so much these past couple of days. Almost feels like I'm back on safari, just less safe. The lake I showed off is starting to freeze too. On the far side from where I was stood this beauty. Seems to be the same species I had a nasty run-in with earlier. Oh, stupid me. Here's the picture. She didn't seem to care about me. They looked more interested in their babies who emerged from the bushes on the hill. The chicks were a dark color, almost black. I watched as their mothers split up their horseplay and escorted her brood away. There were others too, a second full-grown one somewhere between brown and fully white. This fella seemed to belong to someone since, well, it looks like he's missing a wing, and in its place is gauze and bandages. Is he supposed to be somewhere in captivity? Wait a damn minute. I think the color changes are related to the seasons. Oh, I know that there are ptarmigans that do the same thing. It's something super stinking awesome that happens. Or maybe it's ontogenetic, like how bald eagles change head colors as they age from brown to mottled to pure white, and also their eye colors were different. Maybe that's a growth thing as well? Parrot eye colors change as the bird ages. Oh well, whatever the case, I likey. I was wondering what's keeping them so mild-mannered, but then I remembered I'm in bear and Shenlongsaurus country. Heading back from the water source, I encountered another animal. I think it was a sight that, like everything on this trip, has reset my standard of reality. Here, a gigantumongous mass of dark shapes with two big, eyes? Honestly couldn't tell you what this is. It honestly looked like some gigantic writhing octopus or something. At least from the distance I was at. I should have brought the binoculars for this one, folks. I'm stumped. Kyle looked at it and said, "Oh great, new Udra." When I asked him what the hell that means, he said I wouldn't get it. Guess I'm not the only weirdo in this car after all, because I don't know what a new Udra is. It's snowing again. Now the weather is weird because it starts snowing, then spontaneously warms up and the snow melts. It's as if the weather can't decide what it wants to wear. Everything was powdered in about a half-inch of snow, and now it's all gone. I'm gonna take another look around. The snow clings to some areas better than others. Maybe we'll find tracks since, well, Jamie should be here by now. The snow ain't going sideways, and it's confusingly still bright. The flakes are meandering calmly down in all directions. What the hell happened here? This is the same dozer Kyle and I stumbled upon a week ago, if I had to reckon a guess, but why has it been so neatly disassembled? I suppose a better question is, what happened to the man inside? His corpse? Ah, okay. There's tracks and shoe prints here, but they're obviously not big enough to be Jamie's car. Alongside them are paws. Not dog paws, but... Oh wait, it could be Belle! She found me! Ho ho ho! I'm so stupid happy that she was able to brave all the other wildlife, the weather, and any potential asshole humans. Oh, it's so nice to see her again. She's just as gorgeous as the last time I saw her. Very, very pretty. She seems, well, a whole heck of a lot more trusting towards me. Ah, what a precious little goofy gal. Super striped friend. I'm so glad you're not extinct. Belle and I still have some tracks to follow, though. She's actually being very friendly and sticking close to me. Which is nice, but also a bit confusing. I did, however, just get to do the unthinkable. I got to pet a thylacine. We've been walking for a bit now. Still no sign of anything notable. We'll probably turn ourselves round soon before it gets dark. So, we found something. A real big pile of ash. And I assume it's still warm. Something big or a lot of things were incinerated here. It's a puzzle. I don't know exactly what was scorched here, but Belle seems to like it. That, or she's scent masking. Judging by the fact this pile is still warm, though, we should leave now. I've been kind of freaked out about it, to be honest with y'all. Heading back now. Guys, we ran into a problem. Obviously, this isn't my car, but it matches the description of Jamie's car. Jamie isn't here, though, so I pray to God that they're able to either find their way out of here to civilization, or they find me, or especially Kyle. The glass is shattered on all sides, and the door was either pushed or pulled out forcibly. I'm happy that there's no blood, but this makes me feel ill. Do I even want to tell Kyle? We gotta run now. Sun's going down, and after spotting this, I'm not taking any chances by hanging around. Okay, it's been about a day, and the way back to the van was scary, but not really eventful. As opposed to today. Today was quite flavorful, one might say. Saw a lot. Last night, Belle and I saw a couple different suited men, both of which I've seen before. The fellow with the green eyes did not seem to see us, but he was speaking to someone else on a call. I think they were searching for Belle, as he made mention of a thylacine. Here's that guy. The other person absolutely saw me. In fact, this is the same dude who seems to be keeping a close eye on me and Kyle since forever ago. He is, of course, walking through objects like trees, rocks, the ground. He can walk through it all. Freaky, right? Seems pretty darn tall, too. We saw another really cool little bird, too. This one seemed familiar. I named them Rebecca, but tragically, where I saw a new friend, Belle saw calories. Belle had no interest in sharing either. Something else I noticed is Belle was fully aware of the men in the forest, but she was not even the slightest bit wishy-washy over them. She would look in their direction and then keep trotting along, so maybe these costumed folk aren't a threat. Something Kyle doesn't buy. Kyle was happy to see Belle as well, but I told him about Jamie's car, and he confirmed that it really was their car. He and I are both very worried for their safety. These woods appear to be hungrier than they have ever been. Yellowstone hasn't been this dangerous in millennia. We've been in and out of the van all day now, searching for any signs of Jamie, and, well, because the snow melted, I didn't find any tracks near the wreck. I feel something awful for not checking earlier. Oh, one more less important thing from last night. This creature. They weren't very big. At least, I don't think they were big. They were buried in the snow with only their eyes peeking out. I had a feeling bothering them would end badly, so Belle and I left them fully alone. I'll see if I can find them again. My suspicions is that they were waiting for prey to appear. You know, an ambush predator. Anyways, I'm gonna be honest, folks. As worried as I am about Jamie, I just can't understate just how fantastic it has been to just bear witness to God's glory out here. These creatures, these beings, seemingly unseen by mankind up until now, they're all just so stunning. Kyle is unfortunately less happy. I wish he'd cheer up, but I guess I can't relate to him. He's got a partner he cares a hell of a lot for, after all. I don't. It's honestly fair enough that he's so worried. I'll keep being a happy camper, though. Jamie might not even be dead. Back to the beauty. Observe! I saw what I thought at first to be maybe some sort of pronghorn, but no. Another look says, nuh-uh, think otherwise. as the pattern, size, horns, and skull are quite different. They were absolutely the embodiment of regal. Didn't get too close to him. I didn't want to scare him. But just look at him munching away. So cool. Also, listen to this. Sound familiar? I remember this strange noise from a few nights ago. Do you? Those long, really awesome and drawn-out spooky repeating calls. Whatever that was back, and the culprit surprised me. Check it out. It was this towering fella. You know, the one I thought was an octopus? Nope, it's some giant feathery beauty. Very goth. I suppose there's more than one of them, and get this, I was able to get shockingly close. Long, fuzzy neck, big poofy head, very tall, and 3 enormous claws adorning each robust arm. And a big poofy tail and butt to boot. They had such a mild temper, and that facial plumage might be a false eye. It worked on me. He wasn't the only bird-like thing I saw earlier today. No, far from it. Another squawking creature that sounded sort of like a pelican was this marvelous guy. A pterodactyl-looking animal. Beautiful, right? Again, I'm so sorry, Kyle, and goodness knows how many others are neglecting just how lucky we all are to see all these living creatures that walked millions of years before, and maybe even after us. My standard of reality has been forever, as I said, I say, for the better.
Kyle here. Jean worries me a bit. Today these beautiful animals nearly took my head off, as I was literally being chased by the giant dragon hawk thing several times. My everything is at risk, and that monster that's been hunting me, I feel as if it's already begun to eat me. You can't see that Jamie is obviously more important than some fucking stupid murder birds. Those things will not treat him or I as if we were princesses, and my Jamie is out there. I'm so frustrated now, my god. He keeps downplaying everything.
Jean's back. Kyle's being understandably scared, but what he can't see is how miraculous this all is. What's happening now is bigger than you, him, me, bigger than the whole of humanity itself. He'll come to his senses, I'm sure. And again, Jamie is probably out there. Poor kids. I asked for proof that he really was attacked earlier today, and yeah, no kidding. He says it took off at him earlier today, and he was able to crawl between trees to get away. I don't forget that these animals can kill me, but I still appreciate them for their intrinsic value. He told me to take a hike. Luckily, this is a beautiful place to do just that. I hope he lets me back in soon. I should probably apologize. I guess first your buddy Jean's got some more exploring to do. I hope to encounter more things, honestly. So long as I don't die a painful death, of course. Har har. Oh, wow. Take a look at... I'm just pulling your leg. They're just a little monk. Belle tried to get him, but the squirt is just too swift on her little feet. Better luck next time, Tiger. So, the bear that was worrying me earlier, well, I see them. Far, far in the distance. But they can move anywhere I can, and 4 times faster, too. And he's looking my way, folks. I think he's coming. I have to get back. Couple images of him through my binoculars. I'm sure he's finding a path towards Belle and I. Well, the bear found me, but God was on my side today. The Shenlongsaurus noticed the bear and the two of them started to fight. The bear repeatedly tried to run, but got blocked and bites and slashes were exchanged. Eventually, though, the bear collapsed and was destroyed. The bear put up a good fight. He was able to pluck a lot of feathers. But sometimes it's about the size of the dog in a fight, or guy. Obviously, I'm not there anymore. I'd say that fight took about 40-ish minutes if I had to wager a guess. It was astonishing to watch. On a different note, on my way back, Belle and I found tracks in the dirt and leaves that came from the car, ones that the snow had previously been hiding. They had to be Jamie's, so we continued to follow them into the night, which in hindsight was not a good plan, but, well, the tracks eventually multiplied. Huge lizard tracks accompanied the frenzied footsteps, which led us to this scene here. I gotta warn you, folks, it's gruesome. They had crushed bones, limbs ripped clean off, and skin and muscle ripped into a pulpy mess. Poor kid probably didn't have a peaceful death. I assume this to be Jamie, or whatever's left of Jamie. I have to admit, though, and I hate to admit it, but there was something fascinating about it all. This was a massive, massive gecko. They devoured an adult human. A gecko! You have to admit that nature is terribly impressive at times, and this gecko is a prime example. Call me insensitive all you want. Maybe it's true, but like gazelles watching the lions feast on their own kin, I couldn't look away. I had to observe. I'm at the van now. Kyle is asleep, so is Belle. I didn't tell him about Jamie. I only told him about the bear. I'll keep updating y'all. Good night, folks. I'm sorry for being so insensitive about it all. I still can't work up the courage to tell the kid about Jamie. I just don't know how. I don't want him to lose all faith in love. That pain is a horror show. I can't bring myself to tell him and spread the agony I've experienced. It's been hard. And again, I'm truly sorry for what I said, folks. I do still think that nothing compares to nature, though. But despite that, I realize the value of a person. I have my priorities in check. I went back and kicked all the tracks away. There's nothing left of Jamie. Nothing at all. Maybe a minuscule little shred of hair, maybe, but it looks like nothing had happened at all over there. Wait, I'll fix his worries. I did find shoes. I could just make tracks, ones that do not lead to a certain death. I'm gonna do it, that way he can come see that Jamie got away and was likely rescued. Call it fucked up or whatever, but I think this is a solution to his anxiety. I'm gonna tell him I found tracks. I'll show him that it's okay. Wait, what the hell? Fellas, Bella's here. I thought they were inside the car with Kyle. What's going on? She seems scared out of her wits, constantly looking around and being flighty. Man, I'm glad I have that gun. There's an awful good chance I'll need it. I'm going back. I hear screaming. Time to go. I can't begin to describe the pure terror of what just happened. I could barely see what I typed through the tears. I have nobody to confide in but myself, and the world I live in. The animal, Shenlongsaurus. He clawed and chewed through my van. He was going for my only friend, and I could have saved him. I could have saved Kyle. I had my finger on the goddamn trigger, but I didn't shoot. Firing shots in the air didn't work. I could see Kyle watch as I did nothing. The look in his eyes was too much to bear. I let that animal take him and drag him straight to hell. The noises were gut-wrenching, and I have to live with that. I will live with that. I had to choose between one human being and one whole species tonight. That's one less human, or one completely unique perspective, permanently erased from the universe. You have to understand, people, on some level, that this was so hard. Call him a monster. Call me a monster. But right here, I don't see anything less than a fully thinking, feeling individual, just like you or I, choosing between one of the billions of Homo sapiens and the single representative of Shenlongsaurus. I had to do what I did. He took one look at me. I looked back at him, and he was gone. Jamie, Kyle. I don't like their absence, but what's the weight their deaths in comparison to extinction? You have to understand I'm right? Suited men approached me in the distance. Belle ran over to them, happily. These men, they know my name. They're telling me to be calm, and they have a job for me. Satisfying, just like the story. I can't believe it. We finally got WeirdBirds Part 3. And it's a doozy. What I really like about this one is that it isn't completely in this horror aspect, right? Like, there are things about it that are horrifying. But in and of itself, it's more of like this perspective of obviously Gene, who's this avid outdoorsman who is super interested in pretty much everything that exists in nature, whether it be things that he's seen before or not, right? And he's just totally in love with it. Almost such to the fact that I think he is happy to throw away humanity in an aspect, but you know, we can argue those semantics. And it's nice because he's just like amazed. He's in awe of everything. He wants to get all kinds of pictures and videos, and he just wants to ramble and talk about all this stuff and like, you know, live a new life and everything. And it's understandable. It's completely understandable. If it's something you're passionate about, I get it. Completely get it. And then I also like the fact that we had Kyle, another face on the scene, which I thought was really good. Really tragic ending. Really, really shame. And it's made worse yet again by the fact that Gene. I suppose the worst part is the argument could be made that maybe Gene could have saved him. But even if Gene intervened, I think what would have happened was that Gene would have probably died too. And I'm not trying to say Gene shouldn't have tried. I personally, myself, feel like he should have tried. Right? But it's horrific. No matter how you really think about that situation, it's horrific. I do feel like he was okay with it though. And that for me is awful. I know I would have been racked with guilt if I couldn't have saved somebody. Right? Like that's just me. So this story is it's so freaking good. It's so freaking good, isn't it? I can't believe it. Arcasukas yet again knocked it out the park. You've got all kinds of great. I mean, the thylacine. Oh my god, just another fun little character. It's great. I don't know if they'll replace Mikey in all our hearts, you know, but it doesn't hurt to have another fun contender going around, right? Another fun sidekick that that's just good, just a good boy, isn't it? Or I guess a good girl. It was a good girl, yeah. Ah, man, it's just unbelievable. I could probably rant and ramble about it all day, but I don't want to spend up too much time on that because we also need to thank our second voice actor for this one, Charm Cochran, my buddy, Charm, who, by the way, you might recognize the name, some of you, because I have actually played quite a number of Charm's horror story games. And I've even got a little playlist, which I'll link up here in case you want to check out some of those. My personal favorites out of them that I've played so far would be Sundown, 1,000 Slimy Things, and Kiss of Beth. I mean, there's also like the RGB cycle and things like that. I've played about 10 so far. There's still more. There's still more that I need to play, and you best believe I will. But I don't want to overwhelm you guys with too much of it. So I feel like I'll probably do like one every 2 weeks or something like that, just to kind of spread it out a little bit. I think that'd be quite ideal. And all the ways that you can support Charm, I can go ahead and show up on the screen here. Charm has an itch.io to check out some of the games, and also an ifdb.org area that you can check out all the games and check them out for yourself. Definitely do. If you like horror stories and games, quite frankly, it's a great way to go. It's pretty much all text-based adventure, but there's a lot of like extra elements as well. Like in some cases there's music or like specific color changes and things like that. Just these little things that, in my opinion, always kind of give you a little bit more out of a story, right? Really, really good. And some of them definitely require content warnings, but luckily you will get those. So just to let you know, they're pretty great. Some of them, fucking. The first time I played Sundown, oh my god, I was just like, this is so cool. This is it. Just it really pulled me in. It really just I just couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop playing it. It was so good. Anyway, thank you so much, Charm. Honestly, I think you did a great job. And naturally, we have to thank the man himself, Arcasukas, because, well, we wouldn't be able to make these videos about WeirdBirds if Arcasukas didn't make them. This is his story at the end of the day. These are his tales, his ideas, all of his own work that he does, which, by the way, you can read all in their glory over on his actual Twitter page, which naturally I'll put a link in the description below, of course. And there's one more way you can show support to Arc, which this is pretty important, and I think you really, really like this. You see, there are plushies. Specifically Donnie plushies at the moment. True Dawn Borealis plushies, which currently go for $27.50. Not bad, not bad. Look at this guy. Look at him. Oh my god. Look at those eyes. The detail, the color, oh my goodness. You can spin him around and everything. Look at the size of the tail. Holy shit. So yeah, naturally I'll pop the link in the description for that as well. Of course, all the ways you could show support to these people, I will definitely keep in the description. It just keeps it simple for everybody. Oh my god. And now I know what you're all thinking. I know exactly what you're all thinking. But Nate, Will there be more WeirdBirds? Now, I can't tell you all the details that I do understand and know. But I think I'm allowed to say one thing. Yes. That's all I will share. If you want more details or information, well, best finding Arcasukas and ask it yourself. I could probably pass along certain bits of information if I'm allowed to. But yet again, if I'm not told I can, I say nothing. Very exciting. It's been one hell of a week. It's been very hot here. Heat wave's still ongoing. That's why I'm doing this in the morning, which is why it looks incredibly weirdly bright here. Because the sun comes from over there. It's fucking nuts. Anyway, this has been fantastic. I've had a fantastic time covering more WeirdBirds for you guys. Yet another fantastic story. Oh man. You know, it makes me wonder though. Because Weiho kind of responded last time. Makes me wonder if they're going to see this and what they might do, right? Guess only time will tell. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I've been Nate at Night. Take care out there. Shout out to these cool peeps. Seriously, we wouldn't have got this far without them. You're all amazing. I love you all so much. Honestly, it's tremendous work you do. Supporting the channel, keeping us afloat. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You too could become a cool peep for just $1 a month. What that's going to get you is 2 weeks early access to future videos. It's also going to get you exclusive members-only content. And there might be extra goodies coming along the way. What can I say? I'm just charitable like that. Or you can become super cool. Now that's $5 a month, but what you're going to get out of that is all the perks from the previous tier, plus also 10% discount on future merchandise, and also access to my private Discord server with a fantastic little community that we have, where I plan on hosting monthly movie nights and also weekly casual hangouts. You can also show your support by tipping through either Super Chats, Super Thanks, both on YouTube, or through my Streamlabs.com URL, which will be in the description of future videos below. Cheers for now, guys!